expect at a game of this magnitude. In Kansas City, sure. In Buffalo, sure. And look, maybe some of that is because they're like, we'll see you in the playoffs, and you're tired of this. I think someone's just tired of the Chiefs. I don't think it's tired of the Bills. I think if this game were Bills-Ravens, you would have seen more nationally about it somehow. But people are like, man, people don't want to hear us talk about Chiefs again. They don't want to hear us bring them up again. And in addition to being the back-to-back Super Bowl champion, now they're 9-0. I think there's a real Chiefs fatigue thing nationally.
Oh yeah, I think so. From even like the national commentary, like it's not even about the like the games necessarily themselves. You're hearing, it's always about who can be the team to beat the Chiefs, who can be the team to knock out. You can tell like the conversation is, we want the Chiefs to be kind of out of the picture. We need somebody else to talk about. So please, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Buffalo, Houston, anybody else, please, can you just enter the conversation a little bit more where we don't have to see the Chiefs all of the time?
The national narrative will be pretty simple here. If the Bills beat the Chiefs, it'll be like they've been frauds this whole time.
Yeah.
We knew that they were frauds. They've been exposed. They were never going to win all these games. They were the worst 9-0 team in NFL history. Those are the things they'll say about your team if they win. If they lose. If they win, what do you have left? What are you going to point to me? Point differential? Patrick Mahomes' touchdown to interception ratio? If we get to that point, I won't care. You will not be able to swing me one way or the other into thinking I should be. If they win, I don't care how they win. I don't care if it's on a blocked field goal for the second straight time. I don't care if it's on a blocked punt. I don't care if it's on a Patrick Mahomes has a ball tipped in the air, an offensive lineman catch it, and Creed Humphrey runs for 60 yards and a touchdown on the final play of the game. I don't care how they win. If they win, you have no evidence to try and complain, be like, well, it's not true, or it's a false narrative, or you can't be. No, I won't care at that point.
I think
none of that will matter to me.
Somebody on the text lines from the 785 says it's got plenty of buzz. CBS has pushed it hard. I think that the game's been pushed hard, but in terms of the conversation, I think the Chiefs have become stale to a lot of national conversation. Like they don't want to talk about the Chiefs because it's a topic that they're tired of talking about. And to your point, Cody, I think if the Chiefs win, I don't know if there's anything else that you can say in regards to they're frauds. Because when is that going to show up? They don't have the kicker. They don't have the number 1 or 2 wide receiver. They haven't had the number 1 running back in forever. They've been decimated with injuries more this year than they have in previous years. There's so many different conversations around this team that they shouldn't be undefeated, but they are undefeated. And I think at some point, they're not a fake undefeated, like Mike Renner said a couple weeks ago. They're undefeated.
They are doing this. Like, I don't know why I don't feel like this has ever been emphasized enough. They are doing this without their number 1 wide receiver, their number 2 wide receiver, their number 2 cornerback.
Awful left tackle play.
Their number 2 defensive end, bad left tackle play, their number 1 running back, their number, how many people down the list do I have to go to point out that they are doing this without, and they are, able to still be 9-0. I'm thrilled about this game because I think it tells a lot about where the Chiefs are. If it's close and they lose, it tells you they can fight with anybody, doesn't matter who they're missing. If they're close and they win, same thing, but now they're the number 1 seed. The only thing that would even make me think about coming in here different on Monday morning is if they just got their teeth kicked in by Buffalo. And even then, we're not going to get any answers on the Chiefs over the next 2 weeks because the next 2 opponents are the Carolina Panthers and the Las Vegas Raiders. So the only answer you'd get is if it's really falling apart. Yeah. And they lose to one of those 2 scrubs. Those are the 2 teams currently picking like 2nd and 5th in the NFL draft. They stink. They're not just bad. They're awful. Like, you're going to be able to, cruise into the Thanksgiving holiday, not even worried about what to do if the Chiefs end up winning this game. I just think it's a division game, which means anything can happen, and we're having those conversations. From the 816, what was that 12-0 Steelers team a few years ago? Big Ben's last run? That was a fake undefeated team. 100% agree. But the other part about it, because we all didn't believe it. So I understand. This happens in the NFL sometimes. That year, we universally agreed as a society. We all got together. We held a quorum. Every single city in NFL America got together and we said, yeah, right. Right? We all disbelieved. Not a single person on the planet outside of Pittsburgh was buying into that 12-0 Steelers team. What I don't understand about that as it relates to the Chiefs this year is they're the back-to-back Super Bowl champion. Right?
Yep.
Tell me a world in which that would make them hard to believe as a winner. Like that Steelers team hadn't accomplished something the year before.
And the quarterback's not old and, injured or can't move in the pocket. Because if I remember right, that team, Ben Roethlisberger, was like a statue.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah. He was terrible. He was old. They were old. They were winning in ways that made no sense to win. Like, I get it. Like, part of me doesn't want to believe into the Steelers this year. But it's
even different now. This Steelers team is more of a 7-2, is a convincing 7-2 compared to that Steelers team that was not a convincing 12-0 or whatever the case was.
Yeah, I don't know. It just looks different. And sometimes I understand because there's fans that just don't want to believe in him, but that's still not the case. Now, there is one player that I would say I think their production has been overhyped, while I still think that they've done the job, if that makes sense. Kareem Hunt's value to the organization has been big because otherwise they would have had to go to Carson Steele. But his production has been overinflated. Can we admit that? Does that make me a bad person or a bad fan?
Overinflated how? Like
he's averaging 3.7 yards a carry.
Okay.
He is bottom 5 in the NFL in yards expected over average. What he is good at right now, he's a volume shooter. They exist in the NBA, and I know there aren't a lot of NBA fans in Kansas City, but it's like the guy who's like, oh, wow. Dude put up 38 tonight. You're like, wow, impressive. How many shots was that? And like 74, you're like, that's too many shots.
Yeah.
That's too many shots. Cool, he got 38. Why the hell did he put up so many shots? That's like way too many to get 38 points. That's what it feels like. He's a volume shooter. Kareem Hunt does the job because he is healthy, he is available, and he's available to take 25 carries a game, catch the ball 2 times a game, and just wear himself into the ground. The talent difference between Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt is still significant.
Oh, yeah.
They are getting a big upgrade when Isaiah Pacheco comes back. All I'm saying is that his production's been a little overstated. It's all volume. It's all just number of carries. It's Jerome Bettis in those last few years of the Steelers. He's averaging less than 4 yards a carry, and all the advanced metrics would suggest, he's just doing that at a grit borderline.
I think the point, so the way that I look at it is, I think from a statistical nature, I think, yes, it is probably overhyped, a little bit overstated how, quote-unquote, good Kareem Hunt has been. I do think, though, for the sake of putting them in situations where they don't have 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, you run the ball twice with Kareem Hunt, he gets you 3 yards both times, you're at a 3rd and 4, you're going to get the 3rd and 4 because the Chiefs have been great on 3rd down. I think his usage is almost in part, and his effectiveness is helping the Chiefs have short 3rd and whatever to gain. I think that's where his effectiveness, I don't know if that's something that's just in the weeds that hasn't been recognized, but to me, that's where Kareem Hunt has been very effective for the Chiefs offenses. He's not gonna have the 20-yard run. He's not even gonna give you a 10-yard run that often.
He had a 13-yard one. It was his longest one in like 2 years or something.
Yeah, he's not gonna give you that long run that Pacheco can, where he just lowers his head and he just goes nuts. He's gonna get you to 3rd and 4 to 3rd and 5, and then you're gonna let Patrick Mahomes do his thing, throw the bubble route to Xavier Worthy, and he's going to get the first. Throw the out route to DeAndre Hopkins, or you're going to throw the curl to Travis Kelce for 5 yards, and you're going to get the first down and keep the chains going.
What you're describing is exactly how their offense technically rates out on, which is they are statistically like the 2nd or 3rd worst offense in the NFL in 1st and 2nd down. Like they're not good. They're one of the they are the most efficient offense on 3rd down by a lot. Now, I think that's because, and this is like Casey Kurt over on the text line, 913-586-7965 from the 785. Said, I do think Kareem Hunt's been a big upgrade in the red zone. I think what you're describing, Drew, is the thing I like the most about Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt will get you 3. He's not getting stopped for -1, 1, 0. He'll hit the hole as fast as he used to? Nah, probably not.
Yeah.
Will he get there? Will he slither and move and slide and find an end zone? All of those things, like, are in existence pretty consistently. But it's like, do I watch the explosiveness and be like, look at Kareem Hunt move? No. I think if you put Kareem Hunt's skill set, as in his vision for the field, back in his body from 5 years ago, he'd be the same guy you saw in Kansas City 5 years ago. One of the best running backs in the entire NFL. Honest to God, it's impressive he's still productive at 29 years old in the NFL because most running backs aren't, even if it is a few things about that. And from the 816, why are we complaining about Kareem? Nothing. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying his stats have been a bit overstated, and we're getting ready to get a big upgrade in Isaiah Pacheco next week. And I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. I think that Isaiah Pacheco...
He's done the job. I just think his production's been overstated.
When Pacheco comes back, do you think it's more of a 50-50 split? Do you think it's Kareem 70-30 just to get Pacheco back, and then eventually it's going to get to that point where it's 70-30 Pacheco? Do you think that they're going to give Isaiah that run right away, or do you think that they're just going to try to ease him in a little bit more after the leg? Since it was a leg injury, maybe a little bit more?
This is part of the way I think they'll just put him in right away. I actually think the Chiefs slow play injuries because they wait until they're full go. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
I think Pacheco could play this week at a 50-50 split or 40-60 split in favor of Kareem Hunt, but they wait the extra week so it can be 70-30 when we get there. That's, honest to God, that's what I think that they do. When we come back here on Cody and Gold, I'm going to tell you more about some of the news yesterday out of the Chiefs as it relates to a survey they're going to do on the stadium and why I think that's embarrassing that it took this long. But also, Matt Verderam over at SI. He's going to join us next to talk some more things, Chiefs.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hey investors, this is JD again with Crossroads Investment Lending. Still wanting to get in that fix and flip game? Don't have the money? Maybe you've always wanted to get yourself a rental property. We can help you get in the door. Call the fix and flip guys at Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900, or go to kclend.com. That's KCLEND.com. Get started in the fix and flip game. What are you waiting for? That's Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900 or kclend.com.
Kansas City is Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings off 152 and North Flintlock Road in KC Mo, Friday, November 15th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champ while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The difference between real custom jewelry at House of Diamonds and so-called custom jewelry elsewhere is like the difference between painting on a blank canvas versus paint by numbers. This is Gene at House of Diamonds. In our store, you don't pick from a collection of designs. Choose from a list of options. Send it off to who knows where for 6 weeks to be tweaked and call it custom. At House of Diamonds, you and we together design and create a one-of-a-kind custom ring, pendant, earrings, or necklace. And since 100% of the work from start to finish is done right here in our shop, we can deliver real custom jewelry and can back it with a double lifetime warranty instead of a disclaimer. One-of-a-kind, real custom jewelry, handcrafted just for you, only at House of Diamonds. House of Diamonds on the southeast corner of College and Quivira, and online at mybigrock.com.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
Is your everyday congestion preventing you from enjoying life's big moments? Try Vicks Sinex Saline today and get yourself back in the action. Vicks Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion with a gentle ultrafine mist. Sinex Saline's drug-free, no-mess formula instantly moisturizes and soothes dry, irritated nasal passages for quick and effective relief. Get back to enjoying life's big moments to the fullest without having to worry about everyday congestion holding you back. Just Sinex, breathe, use as directed.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
This holiday at T-Mobile, I'm joined by a special co-anchor.
What up, everybody? It's your boy, Big Snoop D-O-double-G.
Snoop, let's talk about T-Mobile.
Okay, cool.
This holiday, get 4 lines for $25 a line, plus 4 iPhone 16s with Apple Intelligence and the all-new camera control on us.
Let's get cracking, like a breakfast egg.
You can use those eggs to make some eggnog, Snoop.
Respect.
And people do love T-Mobile, where you can save on every plan versus the other big guys.
You know, y'all can take some of those savings and buy some Snoop merchandise.
Always a great stocking stuffer, Snoop.
We up out of here.
Hold your horses, Snoop D-O-double-G. Let's remind people one more time.
Head to T-Mobile.com and get 4 iPhone 16s with Apple Intelligence on us, plus 4 lines for $25. Now drop that Jacob.
With 24 monthly bill credits, 4 eligible trade-ins, and 4 new lines with autopay. Well-qualified customers plus taxes and fees and $35 per line connection charge. Cancel entire account before receiving 24 bill credits and credit stop and balance on required finance agreements due. $829.99. Credits end if you pay off device early. See how you can save on wireless and streaming versus the other big guys at T-Mobile.com/switch. Apple Intelligence available now.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check your sunroof is closed first before driving through the car wash.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, no. Wait, whoa.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a walk-up with central air and a skylight, and you found it. Now, every Friday night, you get to fall asleep to the sound of your downstairs neighbors' dance parties. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
I'm Jenna Fisher. And I'm Angela Kinsey. And together we have the podcast Office Ladies. Just because we finished rewatching The Office does not mean we're going anywhere. Every Wednesday, we'll be sharing even more exclusive stories from The Office and our friendship with brand new guests. Plus, you can revisit all the Office Ladies rewatch episodes every Monday with new bonus tidbits before every episode. So follow and listen to Office Ladies on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a pick 6, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Back here on 96.5 The Fan, Cody Tapp with you all the way up till 2 o'clock. Fan Club coming up at 1 if I don't start drinking sooner. Drew, today, I did not bring you a separate canned seltzery thing because I didn't know how you'd be feeling.
That's fine.
I brought 2 things. So I brought pre-mixed old fashions, of which I could pour you a small one. But I am dead serious. I also brought you a Sprite. You know?
I'll take both.
Take care of that stomach. In case you aren't feeling too good.
I will take both.
So, that'll at least get us somewhere. But joining us now here on 96.5 The Fan, our friend Matt Verderam over at Sports Illustrated, where he covers all things NFL. Matt, first things first, I don't think there's enough buzz on this Chiefs-Bills game. I feel like it must be, I think there might be a little bit of a Chiefs fatigue. You think so?
Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it. NFL and CBS is treating it like college game day. They're going to be up there for the game.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's national. It's literally on every television in America. So, but I would say, to your point, I think enough people maybe have realized that this game's not just some full blown referendum on either one of these teams.
Yes.
Whoever loses this game, not one serious person is going to sit there and go, "Well, that's it then. That team can't win in January." And whoever wins, it doesn't mean that they're just some unbelievable, overwhelming, prohibitive favorite. To me, the only thing in this game that could really come out of it, if the Chiefs win, they're essentially the number one seed.
Yep.
And then the conversation, as you guys well know, nationally, locally, everywhere, is going to turn to, can they go undefeated? That would be, to me, if the Chiefs win, that is the dominant storyline coming out of it.
Well, because the problem is, and the reason why that'll be the biggest storyline is, they will be the number one seed. I mean, mathematically, it would almost be impossible unless you think the Steelers are winning 15 games.
Yeah,
I don't think that's the case, because all of us, if they beat the Bills, are giving them at least 2 straight wins against the Panthers and Raiders. So, we're already in our heads well, they're 12-0. I mean, so what's 5 more games, right?
Yeah, and I think look, if you really run down their schedule going forward, and they got to get through the Bills game, they got to win that game. But if you look at their schedule, like you said, Panthers, Raiders on Black Friday, and then they have the Chargers on a Sunday night at home, which is not an easy game. I think most people would expect them to win, but It's not easy. Then they go play the Browns, who are an atrocity. And then you come home on December 21st, a Saturday, against Houston, and that game, quite frankly, looks easier by the week, because Houston has not played well for a huge stretch of time. Then you go to Pittsburgh on Christmas. That might be the game. That might be the game that you look at and go, the Steelers might be playing for their lives or for the division. It's a short week. It's on the road. The Steelers can take advantage of the Chiefs' tackle issues. Maybe that's the game. I keep thinking of a scenario what if the Chiefs go to Pittsburgh at 15-0, but obviously at that point they have everything wrapped up. Would they sit all their players on Christmas Day on the NFL's Netflix premiere and just say, we don't care, enjoy the ratings, have fun, and play Carson Wentz? I don't think so, but that would be incredible.
So part of me thinks no, but then also I go back to that final game of the season last year where Travis Kelce sits. And I'll be honest, I think the three-peat is more important to this team than the undefeated. It's had they not won the Super Bowl the year before, I think everyone plays. But because they've won 2 Super Bowls in a row, Matt, in a lot of ways, that makes me more convinced they'll, pull in the reins a little bit.
I've gone back and forth on this. So look, maybe it's a moot point. Maybe they lose in Buffalo, and that's
we don't have to think about it, yeah.
Right, nobody cares anymore. But there's a part of me, the overriding part of me says, if they get to 14-0, 15-0, I think guys like Mahomes and Kelce and Chris Jones are going to be like, look, we could go undefeated and three-peat, and we are the greatest team of all time, and nobody can argue it. That is such an unbelievable combination. I think there'd be a part of them, if Andy decided to yank the starters, I don't think they'd get I don't think there'd be a mutiny. I think they'd understand it. I also think there'd be a part of them that would be like, I can't believe this is going to end like this. So I don't know. But then, look, there are other fascinating parts. Somebody who's a member of mine on my podcast sent a question I thought was really interesting. Let's say they're not, let's say they're 16-0 and they go to Denver. And if Denver wins that game, they're in the playoffs and the Bengals aren't. Do the Chiefs just lay down in that game to keep the Bengals out of the play? There's just so many scenarios, but obviously they got to get past Buffalo first, and this is by far the hardest game left on the schedule.
How big of it? So over the next 4 games, do you think that they lose a game because Harrison Butker's out?
They could, maybe the Buffalo game. I don't think any of the other games. There's no way they're losing. If they lose to Carolina or the Raiders, it's not because they didn't have their kicker.
Yeah.
It's because of a catastrophic meltdown. The Chargers game, maybe the Chargers. I actually have a lot of respect for them. They can't score. I just don't think that game. the Chargers, if you look at the 6 teams they've beaten this year, they're like the 6 worst teams in football.
They play like a Big Ten basketball team, man. I hate watching their games.
Yeah, and it's like if you look at the Chiefs against the Chargers, and like if the Chiefs get to 20, this is over. Like I just don't see any world where the Chiefs are going to lose that game if they score 20 points. I think the game would be this week where, look, these games are always tight. They're always like it could come down to the Chiefs driving the last minute down 2, and they got to kick a 48-yard field goal to win it. Like this would be the game if they get past this game. No, I don't think the next 3 weeks afterwards. Like if they lost, to me, it's because they just didn't play well. It's not because they didn't have Harrison Butker.
Spent a lot of time talking about the Chiefs injuries, and we can spend a little bit more time on that in just a minute. But the Bills, it reports, Sean McDermott just talked. He says Dalton Kincaid will be out against the Chiefs this Sunday. Amari Cooper will be listed as questionable. We know they already ruled out Keon Coleman, especially because the Chiefs had tight end. Dalton Kincaid missing for this game feels significant.
It's very significant. If you go back and watch the film of the divisional game, the Chiefs doubled Dalton Kincaid almost the entire game. But they were more concerned about him than they were about Diggs. Now, part of that was they had Snead and McDuffie, and they could just feel like they could go one-on-one. With Kincaid out and Coleman out, my guess is in this game you're going to see McDuffie on secure the entire game. They're just going to try to take him out of the equation, and then I think you're probably going to get all those doubles on Cooper. Because the rest of the offense, really, they throw to the back sometimes, but Cook, while he's a very good player, he's not an overly dynamic receiver. Like I don't think they're going to win the game because of Cook. Although I will note, Cook, the last time these two teams played in the regular season, had like 80-some-odd yards receiving. Yeah. So that is a note. I expect the Chiefs to double Cooper on third down, play man-to-man with McDuffie and Shakir. There is a world where maybe they play Connor inside on Shakir and they put McDuffie on Cooper. And they just say, look, if Shakir has 6 catches for 60 yards, we don't care. Like, he's not going to beat us that way. But Kincaid not being there, it changes the equation in the sense I think now the Chiefs can deploy players that would have had to worry about Kincaid to stopping the run, to playing James Cook and coming out of the back. Like, I think it's a domino effect. So, yeah, him not being there, that offense between him and Coleman, it's a lot less scary than it normally would be.
Look, I'm not trying to nitpick at least because I understand people do this with the Chiefs, but I've got 6 games on the Chiefs schedule where they beat a team with a winning record. So I guess what do you think about Buffalo? I look at their record. They beat Arizona. That team has a winning record. Their other wins are against Miami losing record, Jacksonville losing record, New York, Tennessee, Seattle, Miami, Indianapolis. There's not a team above 500
right,
except for one win week 1 of this season. So what do you actually think of the Bills? Are they good?
I think they're good. I don't think they're great. Like I've been telling people all week when I've done spots like this, I'm wrong all the time. Like that's just part of being in this business.
Sure.
But one thing for whatever reason, every time Allen and Mahomes have played against each other, I've picked this game right. Every time. I don't know why. Whatever it means, just a matchup. I don't know. I think the Chiefs match up really well in this game with Buffalo. I haven't felt like that in past years in the regular season because I've always felt like the Bills are going to run the ball against Kansas City, and it becomes this Allen's downhill and Cook's downhill, or Singletary in previous years. If the Bills can't run the ball in this game, I feel like they just have a big problem, especially now with Kincaid out. Like I just don't see them being able to. Allen's a freak. I mean, he's going to make 3 or 4 throws in the game that you just go, "Hey, man,
take
great
your loss,
throw, great play," but that's not going to consistently move a team down the field. They've got to be able to stay on schedule and run. And my suspicion is Spagnuolo is going to put 7 guys in the box the entire game, and so you're not going to run. You're not going to do it. But to your point, look, I think the Bills, they've proven over the years they're a good team. I don't think they're as good as they've been in years past. I think they're capable of winning this game. I think if the Chiefs saw them in the playoffs, even in Kansas City, you have your antennas up because they could definitely win. But I think if the Chiefs play well on Sunday, they're just better. I think they'll win the game.
Would you be surprised if it's anyone outside of Chiefs, Bills, or Ravens who are in the AFC for the Super Bowl?
Yes, I'd be shocked. I respect Pittsburgh and what they're doing. I just don't think they've got the offense to get there. Houston is kind of that wild card because
they've only scored 9 more points this year than Pittsburgh, by the way.
I know. I don't know, Cody, how much you've gotten to watch them. Like they can't block anybody. I mean, they're
bad.
They're brutal. Everybody keeps talking nationally. Like, well, Stroud's kind of having a regression. I'm like, well, yeah, have you seen the games? I mean, nobody can block. and Diggs being out, now it's like you double Collins when he's back, and I don't know what else they can really – yes, I think – I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't even think Baltimore has that great of a shot to get to the Super Bowl. I think it's probably Kansas City. It could be Buffalo. Baltimore, the problem I have with Baltimore, I've given this stat 1,000 times. Baltimore is giving up more passing yards per game this year than the Chiefs are giving up total yards. I mean, that's impossible.
Yes.
That's impossible. Baltimore is dead last, and you know it as well as I do. In the playoffs, they're going to face Mahomes and Allen and maybe Burrow and Herbert and Stroud. You're not winning 3 games in a row with that pass defense against those teams. Somebody is eventually just going to say, "Hey, we scored 38. Good luck."
In a lot of ways, both them and the Bengals, Matt, remind me of the 2018 Chiefs, where you're like, well, yeah, I'm glad you're putting up a lot of great stats. It's probably because you can't stop anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes, one of my favorite stats this year right now is actually about Kansas City. The Chiefs have the least amount of drives of any offense in football. It's not even close. It's 89 drives this year, which is nobody else has less than 92 or 93. And yet the Chiefs are 9th in plays run this season. They just brutally and efficiently kill you. We're going to get 4 yards running the ball every time we run the ball, and we're going to be ultra efficient on third down. And the Ravens are the polar opposite of that. The Ravens are look, we're going to score constantly. But it's because we have to be so unbelievably aggressive because our defense can't do anything. And in the playoffs, that doesn't work. History says you're going to face, if they play Kansas City, you're not scoring 38 points like Kansas City. You're not. You're going to score, I don't know, 24 maybe.
In a good week, yeah.
And you're not going to win. Mahomes, if they get no playoff game, let's face it, Mahomes is going to throw for 350 in that game because he's going to be look, we need to. We're going to do it. We're going to go 5 wide. We're not even going to try to run the ball, and we're just going to throw and throw and throw and throw, and there's nothing you're doing about it. You can't stop it. And look, we've also seen this movie with Baltimore for years where they get in there, and Lamar, who has been unbelievable. If I had to vote for MVP, he would be my vote. But, we've seen playoff Lamar forever, and it doesn't match up with regular season Lamar. I think the problem with them is their best asset is how they run the ball. And in the playoffs, if they get down 17-7, they can't run the ball anymore because they can't stop anyone. So I think it's Kansas City or Buffalo, and obviously, look, the Chiefs are in the pole position.
Quickly on the NFC side, since that game was good for 3 quarters last night, Eagles are for real now, right? I mean, Saquon Barkley just changed the way they look on offense from last year.
Listen, their weapons are great. Defensively, Fangio's got them kind of molding to what he wants, and Vic Fangio's been a great coach for decades in the NFL. The question I have with Philadelphia is very, very simple. Does Sirianni just murder them in a playoff game? That's yeah. If I'm Detroit, right? I think everybody can agree Detroit's probably the best team in the NFC. If I'm the Lions, I don't want any part of Philly because you could just have a game with them where Brown's going nuts and Smith is going nuts and Goddard has 85 yards on 8 catches and they're running all over. The Lions could just have a game against a team like Philly where Philly just scores 40 points. It is absolutely in play. The problem is you could also have a game where Philly has 430 yards of offense and 10 points because Sirianni went for it on 4th and 8 at the 11. That's the fear. But no, the Eagles, listen, they have talent. They could have days where they wipe the floor with you.
Matt Verderam, you can catch his work over at Sports Illustrated or go subscribe to the Matt Verderam Show over on Patreon. Matt, appreciate the time as always. We'll catch him again soon.
You got it. Anytime.
That game last night, for sure. It's I don't know, what was it, Tuesday, Drew? On all 32, I was like, dude, Saquon was the single best offseason signing from any team in the entire NFL. He has fundamentally changed their ability to score. And I get it. They had A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, and they've always had a good offensive line. They've had weapons this whole time. Having Saquon with Jalen Hurts makes them so dangerous.
And even DeAndre Swift has been good for them when he played, but he hasn't been Saquon Barkley. Like a healthy Saquon Barkley, I think we all can agree, is as good as Christian McCaffrey when he's healthy. Those are the 2 best running backs, and I don't know if it's close in terms of what they bring to the table. I mean, he's out here hurling guys backwards. He looks like he's as healthy as he's maybe ever been. I know that for a year or two it was, man, we just need Saquon to stay healthy and to see what he can do. And that's part of why the Giants got rid of him or let him walk was, hey, you know what? We don't know if he can stay healthy beyond this year or looking into the future, but this is the year that we are seeing as good of a Saquon Barkley as we ever have in it. Yeah, I think your point, Cody, of him just further extending how good that offense can be. You know, you have the tush push as well, where you get the ball to 3rd and 1 or even like 2nd and 3, they'll tush push it twice and they'll get a first down. That's just how the offense rolls for Philly. And yeah, they look really good. I think at one point they were 3-2. They've rattled off like 5 in a row now. If I remember, they played the Bengals when they were 4-2 and they beat them.
5 in a row.
I think they've won 5 in a row. They're hot.
Yeah, that sounds right. Let's talk about the stadium stuff for just a minute. I saw the same thing you guys saw. I know the morning show talked about it a little bit, which is the Royals, we still think need to make a decision sometime by the end of this year. The Chiefs have made it clear they have a little bit more time on their runway to make a call about what's next. So the news yesterday is that the Chiefs essentially announced that they'll be running a viability study on the potential of renovating Arrowhead Stadium down there at the Truman Sports Complex, building a new stadium down there, or building a new stadium on either the Missouri or the Kansas side. The energy feels like either renovate Arrowhead at the Truman Sports or build a new one on the Kansas side, but they have not openly said that. Instead, that's what this viability study will look at. That itself is not interesting to me. The idea that they would do that. That's what you should do. What stands out to me is, no offense, what the hell took so long? This is the whole part of the problem, where part of the reason I thought this vote failed in the first place. I'm sorry. Are you just like in no kind of hurry? You kept telling us you were. You went to the polls and said, we got to know now. We got to know if we need a new stadium. I know the lease is up in 7 years, but we got to know, or we'll just be stuck in no man's land. You're just now asking focus groups, just now asking your season ticket members whether they want a renovated Arrowhead or a new one somewhere else. I'm sorry, it's November 15th, months after you failed this vote, 2 years after you put this into place, started these wheels in motion. I thought this was step one stuff. I thought when you start looking into a new stadium, you start asking those questions so that, you kind of get a feel for what the people want. Here's what I think happened, Drew. I think the Chiefs and Royals thought that everyone was just going to rubber stamp it. We love the Chiefs. They'll tell us yes to anything. We don't have to have a plan or ask them questions or know anything about what they might want or desire or look for in a new stadium or a new stadium site. They're just going to tell us yes, and it's fine. And now they're realizing they have to answer questions. I mean, hell, the Royals' original stadium site that they had voted on that failed so badly just got turned into a data center. It's not even anything cool. Was there no research done? Or did you just think that this was we're good? I think everyone thought they would just say yes and that was it.
Yeah, I agree with you in the fact that they didn't, I think they assumed rather than actually went in and gone about their business. And again, the whole thing about the Hunt family and Arrowhead and that being such a significant part of the history, I think maybe it was just an assumption that was, hey, you know what? Parking has always been a problem. We're going to fix the parking stuff, and we're going to keep Arrowhead because everybody loves Arrowhead, and it's the Chiefs, to your point, and they've won the back-to-back Super Bowls. It's going to be fine. Obviously, it wasn't, and now they have to look into, obviously, other options. I do wonder, though, if what Clark Hunt said was right, and I believe him in the fact that it's still a possibility that they renovate Arrowhead, what are the different renovations that they're going to pitch?
Yeah, those last ones didn't hit.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is it putting in a retractable roof over the top of Arrowhead? Is it the parking thing still? What exactly are they going to do about after the K gets torn down? What are they going to do with that space? I think that's what the question would be for those who love Arrowhead and are interested in it. What are you going to do to make them better upgrades than what you were offering the last time?
Here's the other part. We know how these conversations go. So, how much are you going to listen to this feedback anyway? We know for a fact that the human brain does not like change, okay? We tried to build a new airport here. Everyone was against it. No, I don't like it. The old one's fine. I like it. It's the same reason people don't go out and experience new things. I can't convince Alex to eat a new food. Try some sushi. Come on, man. Just try one thing. Try what? Step outside your comfort zone for
Yeah.
a half a second. That's what we're talking about. If you ask every single season ticket member who buys a ticket for the Chiefs, I will just guarantee you without doing the study that they're going to choose to renovate Arrowhead. I'll just tell you right now. You don't have to do the study. That's what they're going to say. And if you ask them that 100 years from now, they're also going to say renovate Arrowhead. And if you ask them 200 years from now, they're going to always say 5, 10, 15 years from now. That's always going to be the majority opinion. They'll be fine with the other just as long as it hits right, or they grow accustomed to it or get used to it. I just can't believe it took this long to do a viability study. That should have been day one stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm just convinced that they just thought, they'll just approve it and it's fine.
Yeah, I think being able to include people's opinions, because somebody texted in, they need parking garages. Maybe that would have been something on in the focus groups, like, hey, forget the whole walkway thing and all that other stuff. We need parking garages. You want to renovate Arrowhead? Put a couple parking garages there where the K used to be. Like anything that can help you. Sometimes you get in your own way in a way where or you assume and you don't want other people's opinion because you think it's fine. I think that's maybe what happened here, where having the focus groups can help you enhance your opinion and then bringing it to everybody else, and it makes it a little bit easier and maybe nicer as well for the people who are going to be voting on the stadium that they're going to be going to for the future.
From the 913, Cody can't tell Alex to step outside his comfort zone. You don't go to the strip club, pay off your debt. First, Alex changed the term of my bet.
He did.
I did not offer. He offered to change the terms. I am no longer obligated to go there.
You can blame Gold for that
I
one,
am
yes.
obligated to get a tattoo that is Chiefs themed if they go undefeated. So you are a big Chiefs fan this weekend.
And even if they don't go undefeated, you still don't have to go because of the bet being changed.
Correct. So I'm off the hook there. Also, I've been to one. That was the whole point. I once went almost exactly 1 year ago today after an event that I do pretty regularly. I went spur of the moment with some friends of mine, and I thought that was going to let me off the hook. But then Alex later had said, no, it had to include us.
He wanted to be there to witness
and I
it,
didn't
think.
realize that. And then the idea of going again was really disconcerting, and I didn't like it. And so, eventually so I've experienced new things. I didn't like it. I'm willing to try new things. Unlike, apparently, some people who just want all the stadiums to stay the same, which is fine if that's what you'd prefer. When we come back here on Cody and Gold, Joshua Briscoe. He's our Chiefs contributor. He'll join us next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
It's a Red Friday on 96.5 The Fan and the other place, especially with these amazing game day specials. 14-inch two-topping pizzas for just $12 and $4 domestic OP cups. The other place with 5 great Kansas City Metro locations.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Chiefs. Everyone develops cataracts naturally as they get older. When your vision is affected by cataracts, you should see my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein at Silverstein Eye Centers. Dr. Silverstein is a world-renowned cataract surgeon who performs life-changing laser-assisted cataract surgery with premium lens implants to correct your vision up close and far away. Trust my eye doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein, Silverstein Eye Centers, 816-358-3600 to schedule an appointment.
You could be on the 50 at GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Enter to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
The NBA is back, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, wants you to catch all the action. Right now, FanDuel is giving all users 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you have to do to catch every tip-off and buzzer beater is place any $5 bet on the NBA. And who isn't excited to watch the Lakers this year with LeBron and Bronny playing together? If you're new to FanDuel, just visit FanDuel.com/610Bob to get 3 months of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA and of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. After 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Hey, Kansas City, this is Jeff Briggs with Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the Victory Effect, our pledge to drive down vehicle pricing for the city we love. I have some fantastic news to share with you all as we usher in the Ram Power Days for the month of October. MSRPs have dropped, rebates have increased, and the Federal Reserve has finally lowered interest rates. So along with that, Chrysler has just announced incentivized rates across our entire product lineup. Now, through the end of the month, well-qualified buyers can get rates as low as 4.9% for 72 months on all 2025 Ram 1500s in stock. Not only can you take advantage of this great interest rate program, but as you all know, I'm going to throw unprecedented discounts on top of the incredible rates to get you an affordable monthly payment. If a Jeep or SUV is more of your liking, then come check out the new Wrangler or the new Jeep Grand Cherokee with special rates as low as 0% and once again paired with Victory's industry-leading pricing. Visit us at Kansas City's only automotive outlet mall, the Legends Auto Plaza, on the southeast corner of 435 and Parallel, just east of Nebraska Furniture Mart, or online at victorymotorskc.com, where our first price is better than their last.
Planning to propose this holiday? Shane Company is ready to help you find your dream engagement ring. We handpick the most beautiful diamonds and colorful gemstones in all shapes and sizes. So when you walk in the door, you can trust your rock is in stock. At Shane Company, we've always sourced directly, cut out the middleman, and pass the savings on to you. We work with your budget, not against it. We'll also protect your ring for life with our free unmatched lifetime warranty. Come see us at shaneco.com and in-store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Kansas City, it's Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings off 152 in North Flintlock Road in KC Mo, Friday, November 15th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champ while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
You can find out what your home is worth in a matter of seconds by a true market expert. Go to homesforsaleandkc.com and click the button, How much is your home really worth? My friend Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty, can help. If you want to skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold, contact them to discuss their instant offer program. Contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team. Google Sharp Homes team or visit them at homesforsaleandkc.com and start packing.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Shop Dell Technologies Black Friday event for their lowest prices of the year. The future is on sale today with limited time deals on select PCs like the XPS 16 that accelerate AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. Black Friday is their biggest sale of the year and the best time to upgrade, but it's only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text. Text BODY to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BODY to 42424. That's BODY to 42424.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Listen to the Chiefs and Bills game on Sunday with pregame starting at noon. Kickoff at 3:25 with Mitch, Danon, and Kling. Right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. KFNC FM and AM. HD1 and HD2 Kansas City. An Odyssey Sports Station.
Back Back at it here in Cody and Gold. Cody Tapp with you. Drew Nixon on the other side of the glass. Gold taking the day off so he can prep for his twin sister's wedding. He has to speak tonight in front of a crowd of people, something I think he is not looking forward to. But someone I know has no problem with public speaking. Joshua Briscoe. He is our Chiefs contributor. I have no idea if you like to publicly speak. Are you good with that or no?
Yeah, I am, and it's kind of funny hearing you say that about Gold, because I think a lot of people automatically assume if you can do radio at whatever level Gold does radio at, I'm going to say above average, just to be generous.
Yeah, 5.5,
radio,
6.
yeah. If you can be a 5.5 radio host, you could probably be at least a 4.5 public speaker, right? But they really are two very different things. Ultimately, you're really just talking to Drew all day, as opposed to in front of a large room of people. I'm pretty comfortable with both at this point.
I'm just talking to Drew and an open window with cars going by on Shawnee Mission Parkway. I think maybe it's come with age. I don't know what it is. I've gotten worse at it, I think. Because we'll go and do station events, right? Where part of the job is hey, interact and shake hands and glad hand with people. And I am so awkward in those situations. I'm terrible in those situations almost. And I imagine the text line would agree with me.
Well, so that's interesting because of I think 3 different little branches of interpersonal interactions. That might also be the one that I'm worst at. I think that's a third thing, though.
Yeah,
Public
that's fair.
Speaking versus small talk, kind of move around, meet people, all of that. Again, for whatever skills I didn't get that would have allowed me to perhaps play sports at a professional level, I did have the right genealogy behind me to talk at a professional level at most depths. I come from a long generation of yappers.
Yeah. The word, I think I've decided that I was one of 7. And it's I just don't feel like anyone was listening to me enough. And I'm well, I'll get a microphone, and then I'll show the rest of you. You'll have no choice but to listen to me. You're stuck now. Anyway, let's talk about the Chiefs-Bills game coming up this Sunday. Obviously, it's a massive game for both teams. As far as what it means for the number 1 seed, we all understand. In the long scheme, it's can you beat the Chiefs in the postseason or we don't care. But Harrison Butker news that came out of nowhere yesterday. I pointed out, while I do think it's a big injury, just like any big injury, because you've taken a serious downgrade at the position, the idea that I wouldn't trust him to make any kick or I'd rather have Justin Reed make extra points, Harrison Butker was a practice squad player they picked up in the middle of the season. I'm not saying Spencer Schrader is Harrison Butker, but I imagine he can do a serviceable job for the next month.
Yeah, and you just have to hope that whatever the Dave Toe, Brett Veach special team scouting brain trust looks like can produce something similar. Now, look, we had, Matthew Wright and Matthew Amendola, I believe, for the period of time that Butker missed when he got hurt in the Cardinals game, right? First game of the year. Is that him and McDuffie the same time?
Yeah.
Whatever that period of time was, though, that he missed and kind of had his ongoing ankle issue and everything, it was a journey. I feel okay about it. I do think it's hilarious. It's all right, welcome to the reigning back-to-back champions, young man. You're going to go kick in the windiest stadium in football, most likely, but in a game between 2 teams that have generational trauma at the kicker position. So it really is a huge spot for him, but I think it'll be okay if I had to make my bet early on.
Yeah, I just don't I'm not saying it's not nothing, but it's not as important as when they lost Rashee Rice or when they lost corner 2, right? Jalen Watson. It's not as big of a deal as when those are more impactful injuries. I think it's less impactful than when they lost Pacheco, at least on that end. So those are more impactful injuries. I just think everyone lives in this fear that it's 21-20. It's the 4th quarter, 45 yards away with 5 seconds to go, and Schrader stepping up to the kick. And then you're because then Monday morning is, damn it, they'd be 10-0 if Harrison Butker still existed.
Yes, that I think is the reasonable fear of all of this. I'd even extend it to say, if you let me have a magic wand of a magical healing spell for either Harrison Butker or Charles Omenihu. Charles Omenihu is a more impactful football player, but the reason the Chiefs made Butker the highest paid kicker in football this offseason, and the reason that people rightfully think about Butker in those big moments is because they are the biggest moments. You don't really think about his first 3 or 4 kicks of a game, by and large.
No.
Maybe it's at the end of a half, or maybe it's hitting a 60-yarder or whatever, but a lot of that's business as usual. And again, I don't want to undercut and say that he's like average outside of big moments. He's not. He's the best kicker in football. But when you think about sealing a Super Bowl victory or punching your ticket to the next round of the playoffs, that ball's usually coming off Harrison Butker's foot. So the one thing that he's really allowed them to do over the years is that idea of like, all right, Mahomes, you don't need a touchdown. You need to get to like the 35. And at that point, we'll just hand it over to Butker, and we feel pretty good about winning the football game from that moment. That line moves way up, and you can't fully trust that it's going to be as automatic as it has been for Butker. So I would love for it not to be 21-20 with the ball in Patrick Mahomes' hands with like 45 seconds left. I'd rather them handle this before that moment comes around, because that very well could matter. The big thing here, of course, is that it seems like Butker should be okay for the playoffs, and then hopefully this isn't stress we have to take into January.
Well, I think the way in which it makes it interesting to me is I think Andy Reid, especially this year, because they know how good the defense is and they've got 2 years in a row of doing it. I think Andy Reid is perfectly fine with taking what you just said, a 50-yard field goal. He's like, it's fine. Like, I don't need to be overly aggressive, and he's never been that aggressive of a coach. How much more aggressive is he with a kicker he doesn't know?
Pretty, subjectively here, I'm going to say 25% more aggressive. Does that,
That's actually almost the perfect number for him, weirdly enough, so I hope you're right. I wish he was 25% more aggressive, like, now.
Yes, 100%. So do I. The funny thing is that, there's like another 25% of aggression that I think he's moving. I wish Andy Reid was 50% more aggressive, I think, by and large. Because you have those gray areas where it's either punt or try to keep the football, or you have those gray areas where it's long field goal or try to keep the football. And I think Andy Reid will, if it's I'll tell you this, if it's 4th and 4, but they're at their own 40-yard line on Sunday, they should obviously be going for that, right? I mean, they probably they should be anyway.
But he might punt.
I can't let that happen. That's the one for me where when it's Butker, and I'm kind of picked that yard marker sort of arbitrarily, but what would that be, like a 56-yarder or something for Butker to try? Butker's probably trying a 55-yarder or so. They're not sending the Schrader out there for a 55-yarder. So just leave Patrick Mahomes on the field so Matt Araiza doesn't go out there and put it through the end zone, which is something that he's been doing at a very high rate recently. Like, don't do this for 20 yards of field position. I think Reid will get those decisions correct. If it's 4th and 3 at the 15, I think they're going to kick the field goal.
If you had to, so like I've been asked this question when appearing on like other stations or those things, because I think it is kind of a tough thing to quantify. So I'm curious how you answer it. How would you explain to others how it is the Chiefs are doing what they're doing at 9-0? Maybe they get to 10-0 this weekend while missing all the players. What do you think the Chiefs are legitimately great at? Because they are missing a huge chunk of their roster for a large majority of this season. What do you think the Chiefs are great at that allows them to get to the record they're at?
This is the Broncos game is the perfect encapsulation of what I think the answer to that question is. Point one is that they're the best in football at having Patrick Mahomes. Like that.
You know what? That's a great thing to be great at.
It really is. It sounds sarcastic, but I honestly completely seriously mean it. When you have the quarterback that changes games, that changes your goal, like moves your goalposts almost literally up towards you. When you have that guy and Travis Kelce, even a little bit from DeAndre Hopkins in his first few games here, you have an offensive line that can kind of help you set your floor in the running game at least. Obviously, left tackle notwithstanding at the moment, or at least notwithstanding for last week. But they do already have a relatively high floor because of their great players, and they have an incredibly high ceiling because of Mahomes. The other thing, though, is that the people have been talking about this for ages, and I think it's just hard to wrap your head around it and to pinpoint exactly where this comes from. You talk about the Chiefs finding a way to win, and that they're great at finding a way to win. And that's, like, true. We can see that, but it's very hard to figure out why that is. I think part of it is all the way to that blocked field goal at the end of the Broncos game, man. When you have scouting and coaching throughout the week that leads you up to knowing what you're working on, and then you have players like Leo Chanel, who's a physical freak, who's locked in for that moment. He also believes, like Kareem Hunt said this on his mic'd up that the Chiefs put out yesterday or 2 days ago, where Kareem Hunt was like, "Nah, we're going to block this. This will be fine." And then later was telling somebody
such a
like,
calm way, like,
right. Well, and he said, it's 2 weeks in a row. I've never seen anything like this. Well, you have a home walk-off in overtime. You have a blocked field goal the next week at Arrowhead. McCole Hardman scored a game-winning walk-off touchdown in the Super Bowl. Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore have Super Bowl moments. There should be no player active on game day who is completely confident that they will not make the play to win the football game. That there is a legitimate chance that Peyton Hendershot will catch the touchdown to beat the Buffalo Bills. There's a legitimate chance that Carson Wentz will be on the field to beat the every level of that, there is something legitimate to it. So it really is, to me, coaching and preparation and talent, and then believing that combination is going to put you in a position to win. And of course, they've earned that. It's not just you got to believe. They've earned it. They've won 2 straight championships, and they haven't played their best football for long stretches of any of those seasons. I think it's a big answer with a lot of factors, but I think a lot of factors are what it takes to build a dynasty.
So anytime we talk about not just you and I, just anytime we talk about teams and matchups and, okay, there's no Dalton Kincaid. That seems like it really favors Kansas City, a team that, is terrible against tight ends, generally speaking, or the things that would go into that. I don't feel like we ever compare, we don't go into a game like we should every game and be like, who are the 2 head coaches of these teams real quick?
Yeah.
And you're in a couple of weeks, it'd be like, okay, so one's Andy Reid and the other one's Antonio Pierce. Yep. Well, I'll just be honest with you. I can tell you which way I'm leaning on that one. So where are you on Sean McDermott? Because, in their division, Harbaugh has obviously made the division coaching significantly better. Pierce stinks. Peyton is a respected NFL head coach. Where do you think Sean McDermott lands in the pantheon of NFL head coaches?
I have a really hard time getting him anywhere out of the middle of the pack.
Yeah, 10. That's where I feel I don't know.
Yeah, I think if you're going to get to a point where you have some, plenty of dysfunctional teams and then teams with coaches who just haven't won anything yet, that maybe they will and maybe they never will, but it's a little early to call your shot there. I look at Buffalo. The thing with them that's interesting this year, so their 2 losses are to the Ravens and Texans, 2 very good teams. The Ravens have obviously been hotter since then than Houston. But I expected this Bills team to take a step back. Now, obviously, the rest of the AFC East was in a race to the back, so that wasn't really an ongoing concern for the division.
No.
But I really thought that they had kind of put together their best 2 chances. The Chiefs obviously trounced them, or at least got past them both times. And then I thought this was going to be a little bit of a reset year for Buffalo, and Josh Allen's been playing tremendous football that I think has largely erased a lot of those things that I was expecting. That makes it even harder to evaluate McDermott, though, because I don't think terribly highly of him from a schematic standpoint or from a leadership culture standpoint. But they've gotten a lot more out of this defense, I think, than a lot of people were expecting based off the talent they had coming into the year. So that's a point in McDermott's favor. And he has a quarterback who is playing like Josh Allen should be at this point. I would also argue in years past, McDermott had kind of gotten in Allen's way a little bit, where some of the big reckless things that every conservative head coach wants to get out of a quarterback, I understand why. But when you have Josh Allen, you just need to kind of steer into the skid a little bit sometimes and let the man live. He's doing that now, though. I mean, you're going to get some Superman plays while Josh Allen has also – I know I'm talking about Josh Allen because I can only not talk about Josh Allen for so long. But he is mentally playing the sport of football at a very high level right now. He is quarterbacking, capital Q quarterbacking, along with everything else that he does physically. And so I think that seeing that relationship between Allen and McDermott seem a little less fraught, seeing the Bills' defense take a little bit more of a step than we were thinking – I do think he's certainly moved in the right direction so far this season, but I also would not put him in that top 10 of when I think a coach is an active positive for a team.
It's so hard with Josh Allen. At times I feel a little bad for him because his biggest problem in his career is that he exists in a world in which Patrick Mahomes also exists.
Yep.
In some bizarro multiverse in which Patrick Mahomes chooses to play professional baseball instead and is a 3-time World Series champion. Yep. Josh Allen's career might look a lot different. I straight up asked Mike Shope, who's a host over at WGR in Buffalo, said, what would Josh Allen's career look like if Patrick Mahomes was just in the NFC? If we just flipped the conference, do you think he'd have an MVP or 2 MVPs? Do you think he'd have a Super Bowl appearance or Super Bowl wins? And I'm like, yeah, I think he'd probably have a Super Bowl win and an MVP. And someone's like, well, he just lose to Mahomes in the Super Bowl. I'm like, I'll just, in my hypothetical, he goes the 1 year Mahomes doesn't in the NFC, I guess, right?
Right, yeah.
When he beats the Eagles every year or the 49ers in the NFC title game every year.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. It's true to some extent for Burrow, but I think it's way more true, and to some extent for Lamar. But I think it's mostly the truest for Josh Allen, because I also think Josh Allen, in a lot of ways, would be the face of football. He would be every 13-year-old's favorite football player, right? Like, just everything that he does is so much fun. I genuinely love watching Josh Allen, and I think he's clearly the second best quarterback in football right now. And he's had a better season in a lot of ways than Mahomes has. But, if I'm ranking quarterbacks, it's Mahomes and then a gap and then Allen and then another gap, for me at least, before you get to kind of the next tier.
When you look at what to expect from this game upcoming this weekend, how would you have handled this week at left tackle? Obviously, Wanya has to start, and he's been practicing all week. Yeah. But honestly, I don't think Kingsley can be put in a position that he is one slight knee twist away from having to go back to Kingsley. I am a little surprised they did not go look out on the veteran market for someone on a practice squad or something just to, cover their ass a little.
Yeah, I can't fight you on that too much. The other thing that's a problem there is that Kingsley's your swing tackle right now, too. Like, Ethan Driscoll's on the 53-man roster, but he's been a healthy scratch every week because he's just redshirting, and he's a giant, and the Chiefs have a long-term view for him. But that means that your active tackles every week are just Wanya Morris, Kingsley Suamataia, and Jawan Taylor. I even wondered at some point, and I guess we could see later today, to your point, Lucas Niang is on the practice squad. I do not think they love Lucas Niang. They cut him to keep Ethan Driscoll active, so that might be a little bit more of a desperation move. We're not going to see Chu Godric yet. He's the international player, so he has an exception on the practice squad there. But maybe Lucas Niang could be a call-up to try to add a little bit of depth there. That's actually something I hadn't considered until now that would make a lot of sense, noting that Wanya also is banged up. If Wanya gets hurt and Kingsley gets hurt, now you're moving Tooney out to left tackle, and then you're getting Caliendo at left guard, I guess. All that to say, it's really, really hard for me right now to see a world in which Kingsley plays legitimate snaps this year and isn't an absolute panic attack experience for everybody watching, the Chiefs included, right? Like, it was really, really evident. So I think Donovan Smith makes sense at some point. He would not have been able to play today, I don't think, anyway.
No.
They would have called him right after the Broncos game. I don't think he'd be playing. But I wonder about the Donovan Smith potential connection. I don't think Bakhtiari makes any sense, but I think Donovan Smith could be a guy that they do check in on, especially if Wanya's banged up. And then I'd go ahead personally, since we got here, I'd elevate Lucas Niang to have another tackle out there in case Wanya gets hurt again and you realize Kingsley cannot finish that game.
That's the problem. It's like he just couldn't, Mahomes couldn't stand back there. They said 8 pressures in 46 snaps. I'm like, that doesn't sound right. But then it was also half of those are rushing snaps. And now you're now you're talking about 1 out of every 3. And it wasn't when he lost, it wasn't just a loss. It was Patrick Mahomes had to fear for his own safety in that, which is the whole other part of this I get into. The other guy who's coming back this week is Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah.
I view this as he raises the floor. Is he better than McCole or Justin Watson or Justin Ross? The answer to that is inevitably yes. But I'm having a hard time coming up with this equates to more regular points in the offense. Do you feel differently?
Maybe a little bit. The one thing in a really small sample size is we have seen some Justin Ross snaps these last few weeks. If they want to go with a little bit of a bulkier personnel, that's a Juju role that makes a lot of sense. And I would be interested, especially in the red zone, because none of these guys are exactly downfield burners at this point in their career. But if you have DeAndre Hopkins, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Travis Kelce all on the field at the same time, all being able to work against zone coverage, all being deadly against the short and intermediate ranges, that's a legitimate trio that I would be kind of excited to see out there. You're going to still see Justin Watson. They trust him to do pretty much everything, and he's a very different player, Juju, than Watson or Worthy or Hardman or any of those guys. So it is a little unfortunate that the slight redundancy might be Juju and Hopkins, but I think they've got to have a plan in place for figuring out how to keep those guys on the field together, because I'd rather have Worthy on the outside in Watson's role if he's running a clear out or some other sort of deep post, something deep downfield. Let Worthy do that while your veteran zone beaters and intermediate threats should be able to find plenty of space in this defense.
I would think so, but again, I think the redundancy problem is very real in the sense that unless those Xavier Worthy deep balls are going to start getting completed, how does this make sense? And I guess where is the issue there in your mind? I still feel like that's close. I think we're going to talk about it here in a few minutes, but I still think it's close, but yet I can't figure out why Mahomes hasn't consistently been able to find Worthy on those plays. It was Worthy's fault a couple of weeks ago, but we all know the throw last week was Mahomes throwing that ball out of bounds.
Yeah, I also think it's close, but I am also worried about it, if that makes sense. Like, I am fully in both of those spaces.
Yeah.
Because to your point, Worthy walked one out of bounds 2 weeks ago. Mahomes threw one out of bounds last week. If those are connections, the NFL world, I think we'd still be responsible about it, but the national NFL world would be breathless about how Xavier Worthy is the new weapon that's going to unlock the Chiefs' offense. Instead, those are both incomplete by about 3 feet total, and now it's, is he going to be a first-round bust? So I think continuing to push that is important because I do think it's important to be there by January with him. The thing that concerns me is, in part, what you mentioned there with Mahomes. I don't think he really wants to throw that ball as much as he used to. We saw him struggle with MVS. I mean, that was mostly MVS struggling, but we saw that connection struggle, and I think maybe Mahomes has just sort of learned to love the intermediate stuff and the short-range things because those deep shots are a little riskier, especially when you can't fully trust that receiver. He always knew where Tyreek Hill was going to be. He trusted DeAndre Hopkins on a deep bomb and about triple coverage. So I think there's a chance that relationship does click into place here and somewhere in the back half of the season, and that Xavier Worthy is a legitimate weapon. I would also, in the meantime, I would have him out there for as many live reps as he can get, even if that comes at the expense of having a Justin Watson out there doing some similar cardio routes. The other thing that they trust Watson to do that Juju can do is some of the interference, the pick plays, the rub routes, and all of that. So I think you can upgrade the, veteran savvy wide receiver position, but obviously, again, Watson is a better downfield threat, or at least a more legitimate downfield threat than Juju would be.
Could it be chalked up to offensive line, like the deep stuff?
It's that too.
Some of it's just right, he doesn't feel like he can stand back there that long, and when he can, he rushes it because he's like, shouldn't I have been hit by now?
Yep, no, that's a good point. I think that the rush is the rush throw in a relatively clean pocket. I think is what happened to the one that he missed to Worthy, right, where he threw out of bounds. If memory serves, that's a very good call. That very frequently there has been real pressure that would make it hard to target downfield, and when there hasn't been real pressure, Mahomes I think has still felt some false pressure because he's kind of earned that reputation this year from his offensive line. It's hard to trust that you're not going to get your head knocked off from your blind side after you have seen Nick Bonito absolutely rip that corner 3 snaps in a row.
Yeah, that was the one that was just I can't keep watching this. This is terrifying me. Well, I'll ask you. You have to give me a score prediction, but how do you think this game is actually played on Sunday?
I have been waffling. I will give you a score prediction just because I needed to yesterday, and I'm just gonna stamp it in because if it changes teams, it wouldn't surprise me.
I sometimes forget that the score I gave before, and I'm like, this one.
I write it down just so I don't have to remember multiple picks. This is the life that I lead now.
Smart.
I am very narrowly and very unconfidently, and I guess I did give this score before Harrison Butker went down, but I went 23-20 Chiefs. I think this game is every bit as close as it seems. I do not know if either side of the ball has a breakout performance for either team. It could totally change all of this. I think lower scoring is my inclination. I think Josh Allen still has a really nice game, but I do believe in what the Chiefs defense is selling. Getting a little bit more juice out of Joshua Uche would be great in the pass rush, but trying to figure out, do we corral Josh Allen? Do we crush the pocket? We can't flush him out. That's not going to work. I think he'll get a few big plays and impressive Josh Allen moments over on this defense, but I don't think it'll be quite enough. I'm relying on the Chiefs offense to do its job here, though, and if it ends up being 24-17 Buffalo, it wouldn't surprise me. If it's 27-17 Buffalo, I don't think it'd surprise me. Ultimately, though, I think one way or another, we're going to be talking about the Chiefs offense on Monday, for better or for worse, when hopefully we should be talking about the Chiefs defense that I'm going to continue to stand behind. But and this could absolutely go either way for me. I have no confidence whatsoever.
Dream scenario, they win, and then Charles Omenihu and Isaiah Pacheco are coming back in addition to it.
Yes.
Although I don't know, for no reason at all, I just decided to get myself convinced that they're going to win this game, and then I'm going to have to go back and revisit 2011 when the 13-0 Packers somehow lost to a miserable Chiefs team.
Oh, wow. I forgot about them. We said 13-0?
13-0 Green Bay Packers team lost to a Chiefs team who had just fired Todd Haley the week before.
Was that Niall Davis housing it in the opening kickoff? And then, they got Romeo the job. I remember that game pretty well. I do not. Okay, so hold on. The Chiefs would be 10, 11, 12. So it'd be the Chargers then would be week 13.
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football. Oh, no.
But 10-0, that stands out because it's undefeated against a bad team. No one would ever predict they'd lose to the Panthers.
That would be the funniest time for it to happen, objectively.
Yeah, absolutely. For radio purposes, it might be a dream. Josh, I really appreciate it. We'll talk to you again here soon.
Sounds good, Cody. Talk to you later.
We come back here on Cody and Gold. I want to talk about a podcast I watched over this weekend that completely changed my opinion on one player. I'll tell you who it is next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hey investors, this is JD again with Crossroads Investment Lending. Still wanting to get in that fix and flip game? Don't have the money? Maybe you've always wanted to get yourself a rental property. We can help you get in the door. Call the fix and flip guys at Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900, or go to kclend.com. That's kclend.com. Get started in the fix and flip game. What are you waiting for? That's Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900 or kclend.com.
Kansas City is Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings off 152 in North Flintlock Road in KC Mo, Friday, November 15th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champ while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
We're talking with Dr. David Bach, board-certified urologist at Kansas City Urology Care. What's the most important thing men should know about prostate cancer?
I would strongly recommend PSA testing. It's a simple blood test. It's inexpensive, and basically every male over 50 should be having this PSA once a year. Prostate cancer is the second leading cancer killer of men.
And why should they go to KCUC?
We not only treat more prostate cancer than anyone else in this part of the country, we also start with cutting-edge diagnostics who offer the most precise diagnoses of prostate cancer using ultrasounds and MRI. We can offer surgical, medical, and radiation types of treatments. And even for men who require additional therapies, we're able to offer all that at a single site.
Get your PSA level tested by the experts. Kansas City Urology Care. At KCUC, you see the best in KC. To make an appointment, visit appointments.kcuc.com.
Hi, it's Derek Johnson, and I know there's nothing better than being part of a team. A group of great people you can count on and learn from. The Sheet Metalworkers, local number 2, are growing their team and looking for quality men and women who want to build Kansas City's future. While you're making KC a better place, you'll also get great pay and benefits while gaining lifelong skills. Explore the possibilities at sheetmetal2.org. That's sheetmetal2.org. And take a step towards a fulfilling and rewarding way of life.
'Tis the season of giving from the Kansas Lottery. So instead of one gift, give 2 or 3. With holiday instant tickets from $1 to $20, don't sweat last-minute gifts because you will have plenty. Forget about Santa and his super fast sleigh when the folks on your list can win up to $100K. Give Kansas Lottery holiday instant tickets this season. They're festive as heck and the winnings are pleasing. See kslottery.com for all the details. Sorry, this holiday story has gone off the rails.
Is your everyday congestion preventing you from enjoying life's big moments? Try Vicks Sinex Saline today and get yourself back in the action. Vicks Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion with a gentle ultrafine mist. Sinex Saline's drug-free, no-mess formula instantly moisturizes and soothes dry, irritated nasal passages for quick and effective relief. Get back to enjoying life's big moments to the fullest without having to worry about everyday congestion holding you back. Just Sinex, breathe, use as directed.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective. A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide cleans better than the leading competitive free detergent, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
Plus, Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Pizza just goes better with Pepsi Zero Sugar.
Pizza. Thank you.
But don't take our word for it. In fact, don't take any words for it. Crispy and cheesy, paired with delicious and refreshing. My mouth is watering already. Ooh, too high. Yeah, we've all been there. Every bite is better with Pepsi.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a pick six, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Coming up at 1 o'clock, Harold Kuntz will join us for the Fan Club. Do old fashions, Drew. Old fashions, that's the plan. Plus, we'll talk to him about this Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight, see if anyone's interested in that. I mean, Jake Paul seems like maybe the worst person on the planet, so.
Yeah, I think everybody's rooting for Mike Tyson.
Yes, obviously.
But we don't know.
But I don't know if the fight's rigged.
Yeah, we also want him to make it. You know, I don't want him to get knocked out for whatever reason and have a problem.
He's 60, dude.
Yeah, I know.
60. I don't know that I want, I don't know if I want him to die. We can talk more about that in a little bit. This is the Chiefs Red Half Hour. I'll talk about kind of what makes this game a challenge because of the Harrison Butker news here in just a minute. But I watched a podcast and I felt like it was worth discussing on this show. The Pivot podcast with Ryan Clark and Channing Crowder. Their most recent guest who sat down with them for a full hour was Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And I know that that's not a player that we think as much about here in Kansas City anymore. He's been a healthy and active essentially since he came back from the non-football injury list. Kareem Hunt has kind of stolen the show, right, as he's come back and been effective for Kansas City. Pacheco will be back here soon. Clyde may never play another game for the Chiefs. I don't know. I think there's a chance he won't ever play another game for Kansas City. But in watching this podcast, I had a completely newfound appreciation for the struggles he went through and why I'm going to view his time in Kansas City differently as a result of it. I know he was a first-round pick, and by statistical measure, he did not lead up or live up to that billing. He is a two-time Super Bowl champ. Those things are still true. He contributed in winning seasons to winning Super Bowls. And until I watched this podcast, I understood what had happened in college. I had understood as a result of that, he was going through PTSD symptoms. I knew that meant he had missed some time as a result of that. But I don't think I had understood the full breadth of it until I got him sit down for a full hour talking about it. Whether it be the puking fits that were keeping him up in the middle of the night, it would come on out of nowhere. He would have to miss practice and time and all these things. And up until the last 4 months, where he says this is now the best he's ever felt mentally and physically in his career, this was an ongoing battle that he was never able to shake. And him recounting the events, how he felt in the events leading up to it, reliving part of the shooting that took place at the parade, everything kind of in between. I came out there being like, you know what? Considering everything he was dealing with, I don't think I could have expected any more out of Clyde Edwards-Helaire's career in Kansas City.
Yeah, I agree.
I will never view him the same way as like, oh, he's a first-round disappointment. Like, no. He was having to do this while dealing with everything else in his life that led up to it. When he interviewed with teams, he had said all 32 teams made it very clear that they were aware of the event, were asking about the event. The only person who seemingly did know about it was Andy Reid, which is hilarious and very on brand for Andy Reid, who had to be told the story a little bit inside of the draft meeting before they took him.
Oh, boy.
In which Clyde Edwards-Helaire then described maybe getting the biggest bear hug of his life from Andy Reid upon hearing it. But the idea that Andy Reid was just like sitting around, paying attention, watching tape, focused on Clyde, all those things, was like, yeah, this feels right. It's just, I'll never view his time in Kansas City as a disappointment ever again.
Yeah.
And I know everyone's up to their own opinion, Drew, and you watched part of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was moved by how he talked about his mental health, the things he went through, the pure terror it rained on his body during that time physically. I can't imagine made it easy to be a football player on that end. I think I would highly recommend it. If anyone gets a chance, go check out the Pivot podcast with Ryan Clark. It is a worthy interview. It's going to take you an hour, but it's worth the hour to watch it because it changed my opinion on it.
I enjoy their podcasts and their conversations, even going back to the ones that they have with Chad Ochocinco and everybody else, is because they talk about athletes, but you learn about them from a different angle and some of the stories that they have. And yeah, for Clyde to be able to share that, I think even too, for him to be willing enough to share it,
he's got to be in a good place.
Yeah, absolutely has to be in that spot. So I think for anybody that's going through any sort of situation like that, Cody, I think you learn that your expectations should have never been any more than what everything that he gave you is what he could have given you in that time, in that moment, where you can appreciate it a lot more what Clyde was able to give over the last stint, over the entire stint that he's been a Kansas City Chief, given what he talked about on that podcast.
And look, the truth is, we'll never know what kind of player he could have been on the field had he not been dealing with those issues. But I mean, I don't care. I don't care about it. I don't care about his production on the field related to the man that he is. And they still got 2 Super Bowl wins with him as the running back for this team. From the 785, someone said, hey, sorry to be out of speed. I knew he had PTSD. Can you clarify? So if you haven't heard the story from Clyde Edwards-Helaire at this point, he was in college. They had been given some free PlayStations as part of a college bowl game promotion thing because they played in the PlayStation Bowl. He went with a teammate who, on a reputable site, went to sell a PlayStation or PlayStation games to a stranger, right? Just like lots of us have done in order to sell these things to it. In that moment, the person who was originally trying to, in quotes, buy the PlayStation, put a gun to his friend's head. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a licensed carrier of a weapon. He's got military in his family. He's been trained with a sidearm, and he used it in self-defense to kill the person who was threatening his friend with a gun. As a result of that, he has suffered from the post-traumatic stress that came from that moment and every moment after that as a part of that. And so he's had, part of it is like he has a reflex in which he just starts vomiting uncontrollably and can't stop it as a result of those things. And so, those things lead to, it's just it's a terrifying story of, what could happen to people if put in those things. And so, and the text on being hard, I'd be like, if you knew that those were the problems with mental health, why did they pick on the first? I don't think he was having the problems with the mental health then. Those things show up later. He didn't know PTSD can show up at any particular time. I'd shared this before, and I'll share it again. So right after the parade, I had shared something personally because I thought it would be beneficial to people, that I was having trouble with panic attacks, not because of what happened at the parade, but a different event that led me to. So you'd be like, well, Cody, why do they have you on the air, or why do they put you in these public settings if that's something you suffer from, right? Similar to your comment on Clyde.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never had one until I had one. Does that make sense? I had gone 38 years in my life with, I would say, a relatively low amount of anxiety or a relatively low amount of those things. The normal amount is how it felt for me in any particular. And then I started having full-blown panic attacks. So, sometimes you just don't know what or how those things are going to lead to those things. And so, at the time they drafted him, they didn't know that this would even bother him his NFL career. They were judging him, and you know how this, and I've told you this about Andy. You want to know the truth? Andy cares about what you do on a football field. That's how Andy operates. This is how he separates life from regular life from football life. It's what makes him a great football coach. Is that Andy Reid is, I think it was maybe a couple weeks ago, Drew. I said he'd have the severance surgery if you gave him. If Andy could just go in the football field, know nothing about it, and just like deal with football, in a lot of ways, that would be easier for Andy to conceptualize, I think. So, like, they probably, they were looking at the football player. And, like, they also obviously thought they could offer him some of the service to do this. Some of the texts said, I wouldn't be surprised to find out if they brought him back as, like, not a courtesy, but brought him back to make sure he would get the league minimum number of years so that he could continue to get the mental health services through the NFL. If that's the case, great. Again, if he never plays another down for the Kansas City Chiefs, I will view his time differently in Kansas City. Like, if he gets cut in the offseason, or he's actually a free agent, if he never signs back with Kansas City, and it's like, well, let's look back. Remember that first-round pick? What do you think about the Clyde Edwards-Helaire first-round selection? I will view his time differently as a result of having listened to this hour-long podcast, hearing the entire story, getting it in detail.
Yeah. I think to that point, I would say he's not a, I don't know if anybody would call him a bust. At least even right now, I don't know if people have said that about.
I'm sure there are people that view Clyde's career here that
about
way.
Clyde, but looking at, again, given the situation, like you feel bad for, like you wonder what kind of could have been. You feel bad for all the stuff that Clyde had been able to go through, but you also look at what he did while also going through, and you're like, man, I don't think, like, there's a lot of people who, if you really think about it, I don't think I could have been able to do what Clyde Edwards, like, if I was in Clyde's position, I don't know if I'd be able to go through playing as much and all of this stuff as what he did. I think that's, you put yourself in the other person's shoes in a way, and then you gain respect for them based on the situation that they've been in. And again, I think it's nice is it good for Clyde to be able to share that, because like you said, it means that he's in a good place, and you get to learn about the individuals a little bit more. It humanizes them once again for anybody who thinks that they're just robots and get mad at
that's always hard
because
like
that.
it is, and I'll even admit, like, from this job perspective, it is really difficult to be like,
yes,
they're people with human emotions.
100%.
Like,
100%.
Look, I think we get a little bit of that, right? Like, we get like a small taste of that, like on radio, be like, I can't come in and have a bad day or be having a bad emotional day. Like, there'd be no reason for you to know that, or be like, it's not like like, not you, just like the listener. It's not like, it's hard to realize that, because when people are just acting like they're playing the football game, you don't realize they're also going through home life stuff or relationship stuff or panic, like you just don't, or PTSD. It's hard to know that. So sometimes it is hard to separate they are a person from they are an athlete. And I've tried more as I've gotten older to be more critical of the performance than the person, I try to make it less personal in that regard. Like, if you're not performing, like we talked about, like Kingsley, right? If you're not performing, I'm just trying to make it about, like, the performance isn't good enough. None of this is against you as a person.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, it's hard. It's very hard to separate those things from the other. It's very challenging to separate
100%.
those things from the other.
100%.
We can talk more about this later in the show. Again, it's the Pivot Podcast if you want to hear more about it. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we're going to get to something I'm still convinced, even though I might go down swinging, I'm still convinced is something we're going to experience out of the Chiefs offense in about 15 minutes. But I keep getting asked, and we should keep talking about it, the Harrison Butker news yesterday, that he's had surgery as of this morning. He's going to be out 4 weeks. The earliest game he can come back is against the Cleveland Browns. So the question is, the simple question is, does this cost him the game this weekend, right? Is there a moment that Schrader misses an extra point, misses a long kick, misses a kick before half, cost them enough points, any of these things that could be existing kind of in the in-between? Is it enough to cost them a football game? And the answer is probably. I mean, yeah, what do you want me to say? I can't tell you that it won't cost him a football game. He just had surgery on his plant leg. Who's to say it'll only be a month, right? Ideally, it's a month. I'm sure he'll get to the gym and go through the rehab and do the stuff that's required to get back on the field. But I'm not here to tell you that there's not a noticeable decline between a practice squad kicker and what is currently the best, most efficient kicker in the NFL. There's obviously a drop-off. But I think it's foolish to say that Schrader's just going to, stink. Drew, he's not going to stink. I don't have we seen how good NFL kickers are this year? It's crazy.
Yeah.
They all make 85% of their kicks and 95% of their extra points. They all make them from 50-plus yards.
Well, and I think
Schrader made a 45-yarder 2 weeks ago for the Jets.
I guess in a very similar way to what Nate said about Wanye is, dude, we just need you to be serviceable. We need you to be serviceable enough to protect Patrick Mahomes. We just need, as a Schrader or as a Chiefs fan, you've got to be thinking, we just need Schrader to be serviceable. You know what? If you miss a kick here and there, it's fine. But don't go 1 for 4 or 0 for 3. Be able to give us a couple of kicks when you need to make the extra points. And if you miss one and it loses us a game, it's honestly, that doesn't mean the Chiefs aren't Super Bowl favorites. That doesn't mean they're not going to be able to get the 1 seed. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to host a playoff game. None of that, him missing 1 kick or a couple of kicks over the course of the next 3-4 weeks, it's not going to be the end of the world, but you just want him to be serviceable enough.
Yeah, that's all I'm asking for. I just need him to make I don't know.
You don't need him to be Harrison Butker.
I just need him to make 8 out of the next 10 kicks if he has to kick. Let's just say he has to kick 10 kicks over the next 4 games. I just need 8 of them. And I need all of them inside of 40. I'm sorry to be picky, but inside of 40, I need those.
For an NFL kicker, I think that's a fair expectation.
That's all. And then I need you to make 9 out of 10 extra points. That's it. That's all and if that's it, they'll survive. Someone says just don't be as bad as the Eagles kicker last night. Low bar, but yes.
That was rough.
Don't be as bad as Elliott last night. And look, did it cost him the game? Or did Saquon Barkley just run for 50-yard rushing touchdowns twice in the last 5 minutes? Because I think Matt Verderame was right. He joined us. If you missed it, at 10:30. You can go to 965thefan.com and see for yourself what he said about it. But he's right in the sense that look at the schedule a little bit. Can Schrader cost you the game this Sunday against the Bills? Yes. Yes, he can. Absolutely no doubt about it. If they lose to the Panthers, I don't even care if it's on a last-second kick. You didn't lose because of that guy. Why the hell are you on a last-second kick against the Panthers?
Yep.
Why are you on a last-second kick against the Raiders? Those are not teams he can lose a game against. So, Schrader can only, in my opinion, cost you 2 games. He could cost you the Bills game or he could cost you the Chargers game. And even the Chargers one, 50-50 shot. And if I felt like that was the single biggest reason why or how you lost it, if that is actually to get him. And after that, technically Harrison Butker should be back and available. And so if it's just a 4-week time period, I'm not in a panic yet. I don't know about other Chiefs fans. I'll take your opinion, 913-586-7965. But yeah, I'm not going to freak out about it. At least not at this point.
I don't think you should, unless for whatever reason. I think you should be more nervous if Harrison Butker has a setback in his recovery or whatever. That's when you should maybe be a little bit nervous. But up until that, if they drop 2 out of the next 4 games, Cody, and they have 2 losses, they're still in a great position. Because they've got the tiebreaker. I mean, if they lose to the Bills, then they wouldn't have a tiebreaker. But say they beat the Bills.
1-game lead at least, and then easier schedule than the Bills the rest of the way based on strength of schedule.
Yeah, so even if they drop 2 games, I don't know if it's enough to really be nervous about the 1 seed still, just based on Harrison Butker's availability to come back. As what it's been reported, it seems like just in that 3 to 4 week window.
I don't know if I was trying to decide earlier on the text line. I brought this up with Verderame and some others. I'm not trying to be a Bills hater, but I also don't think it's wrong. I'm a believer of you beat who you beat, right? You play who you play, you beat who you beat. But the Chiefs have 5 wins against teams within at 500 or better record. The Bills have 1. Week 1 of the NFL season. That is their only, I'm dead serious, singular win in 10 weeks. They've played 10 games. They've beaten 1 team by that margin. I mean, is that not one winning team? It's not nothing.
It stands out in the same way that you. There's one other team. It's not. It's another team that's up there that hasn't beaten anybody either. The Chargers. I know that the Chargers don't have as good of a record.
Also, the Commanders last night. Yeah. The Commanders, after losing the Eagles last night, are now 0-4 against teams with a winning record.
Yeah,
that's not nothing.
It's very weird when you look around the league. It's not like they're the only team that's like this. You know, the Chargers they got the best defense. They haven't played any good offense. They haven't played. Their competition hasn't been good enough to really prove that they're worth being a number one defense. Maybe this weekend against the Bengals that have a high-flying offense. But to that point, Cody, there's more teams that, not that they're, I guess, fake, but you look at them and their record against
I just feel like I know
teams,
less about them.
Yeah, and you wonder, how good is this Bills team really? Like, they're 8-2, but are they really this good? Or are they really worth being 8-2, or are they just a part of, are they just or have they taken advantage of playing bad teams and they just won those games, essentially?
So I had said, I don't think the Bills' defense is as good as it has been in previous years. They're 9th currently in points per game. They have typically ranked in the top 5. But I actually think they're more like 15th. And I think where they've gotten away from hiding that is, here are their wins. Here are the teams they have beaten. And you tell me when you get to an offense you think is actually pretty good.
Okay.
Miami? Well, they weren't good then, right?
No.
Jacksonville?
Nope.
The Jets?
No.
Tennessee?
Absolutely not.
Seattle?
No.
Miami again?
No.
And Indianapolis.
They haven't played a good
Arizona,
offense.
the first week of the season, is a good offense.
Yep.
Like, they've played 2 good offenses, Baltimore and Houston. They played Houston, and I'll say this, they played Houston when Houston was playing well. They allowed 23 points to Houston, a respectable number against a good offense, 35 to Baltimore. They allowed 28 to Arizona. Those are the 3 best offenses they've played. They're allowing 27 points a game against those offenses, and they're allowing like 12 points a game against all the teams I just listed.
What are the Chiefs averaging in terms of points compared to the Cardinals?
Like points per game?
Because I wonder, like, if just based on what you said.
The Cardinals are above them. I could be wrong. But.
I'm just saying, based on what you said, if they gave up 23, 28, and 35, the Chiefs should be right around, should expect to score 24, 27 points.
Arizona scores 23.8 points per game. Kansas City is 3 spots above them at 24.3.
The Chiefs should score 27 points in this game. I don't think that's it's not necessarily an expectation. I would just say you shouldn't be surprised you should be surprised if they score less than 21 or 20.
Yeah, or 24. Yeah. I think the range is like 21 to 27. The only reason I chalk up the lower point scoring is the thing I said to open the show, which is this is a divisional game. And once you start getting into that, then it's harder to like diagnose which way this thing will go. We can talk more about that, and also something I'm convinced is coming for the Chiefs offense. That's next here on 96.5 The Fan.
Cody and Gold.
I didn't sleep well. I was drunk.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, folks, I've got a couple of important questions for you. Do you know how much money you need to retire? Do you have a plan in place for your loved ones? If your answer is no, it's time to get your financial planning on track with UMB Private Wealth. It's never too late to start. Plus, their team supports you at every step of the planning process. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule your appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth. Why not start today?
Calling all Chiefs fans. You could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now. You can enter to win a chance to be on the field for the March to the three-peat. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
It's a Red Friday on 96.5 The Fan, and the other place is your sports watching headquarters this fall. Now with 5 great area locations: Shawnee, Olathe, downtown Overland Park, Mission, and Belton. Enjoy Red Friday specials all day.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Choosing the best doctor for your eyes is one of the most important medical decisions you'll ever make. Whether you're considering blade-free LASIK, all laser cataract surgery, and premium lens implants, or want a world-renowned doctor to help with your glaucoma, macular degeneration, dry eyes, or diabetes, trust my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein. Call Silverstein Eye Centers to make an appointment, 816-358-3600. Experience the best eye care in Kansas City.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review-rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models? That'll get you a low monthly payment. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Google highest review-rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on 2023 Google Analytics.
Hi, I'm Kim Myers, owner of Top Notch Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. This is the time of year we see more clogged drains, leaky hot water heaters, and furnaces that may not make it through the winter. That's why we have these top-notch offers for you. Check out topnotchheatingandair.com for a $79 drain clearing special, 20% off water heaters, and if you need to replace that old furnace, Top Notch will save you $2,000 on any Daikin system. We're proud of our Google ratings and invite you to read our customer reviews at topnotchheatingandair.com. Thanks, and have a top-notch day.
Chiefs Kingdom, Hy-Vee has red hot news. We're doubling down. Shop Hy-Vee the day after this week's Chiefs game and earn a fuel discount that's double the Chiefs score. This Monday only, score double the savings. That's right, double the fuel savings based on the amount you spend. If the Chiefs score 28 points on Sunday, you save 56 cents a gallon with any $56 purchase. The higher the score, the more you save. Win or lose on Sunday, score double the savings on Monday only at Hy-Vee. Offer good in-store and online. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
The only thing better than Thanksgiving is letting Hy-Vee take care of all of the cooking. Hy-Vee has convenient pre-made holiday meal packs for any size gathering. They have succulent turkey, honey glazed spiral ham, or prime rib. Plus, they've got all of your savory sides, rolls, and your choice of dessert. And don't forget the wine and spirits department at Hy-Vee. So pick up your meal the day before the holiday and then just heat and serve on Thanksgiving Day. This holiday season, let Hy-Vee do the cooking while you take all the credit and give thanks to my friends only at Hy-Vee.
It's winter clearance time at Volkswagen Lee Summit. Get up to $5,000 off the 24 Jetta, 24 Taos, and 24 Tiguan, and up to $8,000 off the 24 Atlas and Atlas Crossport. Hurry in before we sell out of 24s. Visit VWLeeSummit.com.
Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
At House of Diamonds, 100% of the custom jewelry we sell is designed, cast, and finished from scratch just for you right here in our Overland Park shop. Don't settle for fake custom. Get real custom at House of Diamonds on the southeast corner of College and Quivira.
Are you playing roofer roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR & Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com.
When you buy a new house, you might say,
"Shut the front door."
winning.
No, seriously, shut the front door. We own this house now.
But you actually need to say,
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
that's right. The local State Farm agent is there to help you choose the coverage you need.
Welcome to my crib. No one says that anymore, but I don't care.
So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
Rita, Jorge, let's bring the nail gun over here.
Jose stands tall atop his sustainable flooring company.
Totally. It's renewable and moisture resistant, but we have several green options too. Or we got some beautiful reclaimed oak.
But floored by his success, he needs to hire more installers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
I plan to rearrange my closet, but I stopped after picking the clothes up off the floor.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's award-winning language learning app will help you start speaking another language. Start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
Comment tu t'appelles? Comment tu t'appelles? Vous êtes d'où?
Vous êtes d'où?
Babbel's bite-sized lessons make it easy to learn words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks,
"How's your French going?"
you can say,
Babbel est amusant et facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue. Et cela ne prend que 15 minutes par jour.
when you want to really learn another language, it starts with Babbel. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on Kansas City's FM sports station. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's Trending.
Number one on What's Trending, obviously, it is Red Friday here in Chiefs Kingdom as they get ready to take on the Buffalo Bills at 3:25, announced earlier today by Sean McDermott. No Dalton Kincaid going for the Bills. He'll be out. Amari Cooper will be listed as questionable. Isaiah Pacheco and Charles Omenihu who will find out about 1 o'clock or so what their availability will be, but I'll just tell you, probably ain't going to happen. Juju Smith-Schuster was participating in practice yesterday. He is expected to go coming up on Sunday. Next up on What's Trending, news at least out of the other AFC teams. T. Higgins is expected back for the Bengals this week after being a full participant in practice earlier today. They are significantly, Drew, better on offense when T. Higgins plays. So
Yes.
not a gain back for them. Certainly, do they have a big opponent this weekend, or they have?
They have the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. It is a big one.
I forget that is kind of for the playoff standings.
Yeah, yes,
Losing this would be massive because then they would only be down to being able to get past Denver, another team I think they play later on in the season.
Yes,
but
yeah,
they're
need this
kind of
one.
sealing their own fate against the Chargers if they lose this one, and then they would be 3 games below 500.
Yep,
putting themselves in real bad shape for the postseason. So a big get back for Cincinnati as they get ready to take on the Chargers for Sunday Night Football. And lastly, on What's Trending, college football this weekend. Number 23, Missouri will face number 21, South Carolina on the road. Currently a road dog in that one. Number 16, K-State has Arizona State, and Kansas will have to travel all the way out to BYU to face number 6 Cougars, a team that is currently undefeated and in the college football playoff rankings at the moment.
Yeah, some good games this weekend. It'll be interesting to see what KU does. KU just can continue to be the bad guy, and just spoil other teams' season.
They could spoil 2 team season and get to a bowl game if they manage to win out.
In Kansas State,
they're not gonna win out, but
it's crazy. It's if they do beat BYU, they play Colorado next week. Kansas State fans, you don't wear Jayhawks gear, I guess, but you might want to wear some red and blue just to support the Jayhawks in a way because you need Colorado to lose.
Kansas they're going to BYU, and then Colorado's coming here to play at Arrowhead, which, by the way, that game all of a sudden becomes far more. I'm like, I kind of want to go to that now.
Yeah.
If Colorado wins this week, and I don't remember who they've got, but
Utah, they should win.
Okay, so Utah's been bad season for Utah. So, if they win, I'm kind of interested all of a sudden. Plus, there's college hoops this weekend. Drew, you're a big college guy. You got nothing but college.
There's some good games this week, and Rob and I were just talking about it. My Wisconsin Badgers play Arizona tonight. That'll be good. Purdue plays Alabama.
Are those ranked teams? Is Wisconsin ranked?
Wisconsin is not ranked. Arizona is, and then Alabama is ranked. Purdue's ranked as well. Both of those games are on Peacock, though, so if you don't have Peacock, then you should use the trial to watch it.
I saw that Twisters movie's on there. I was trying to decide if that was worth a watch. Anybody see it? 913-586.
I have not seen Twisters yet.
7965. Is it worth it? I
I've
enjoy
heard
a good
things.
Friday night mindless action movie, beer situation, whatever. So someone tell me whether or not that one's worth it. If there's some other movie I should be checking out. You know who else has got a ranked game this weekend? UMKC.
Ooh,
Don't know if you knew that. Back-to-back ranked opponents for the Roos.
Good test.
They just lost to Iowa State by 20 this previous week. They've got Creighton.
Yikes! Creighton killed. They played somebody the other night and destroyed them. So.
Oh really?
Yeah, but I think it was like NAI. It was like a Hannibal LaGrange.
It was worse than UMKC.
Yeah, it was a lot worse.
Yeah, dude, they got them tomorrow night, 6:00.
It's a good. You know what they're doing, Cody?
At Creighton.
They are prepping the Roos.
Oh, Houston Christian. I don't care about that. They can beat the hell out of whatever.
They're prepping the Roos, Cody, for the NCAA tournament when they're going to have to face a team like Creighton or like Iowa State in the NCAA tournament. They'll
already be tested by them.
Trying to get the guys used to playing a team like that.
They just played number 7 Iowa State and lost 82-56. They've got Creighton tomorrow. Then things really lighten up for the Roos until conference play starts. Then they play Calvary, who doesn't even have a logo on Google, American, Albany, SEMO, that's Southeast Missouri. So it's they're good for a minute. They'll be good. After they get through these 2 ranked opponents,
they'll be all right.
Things will be okay until the normal time. Until you get to January and they start, conference games kick up.
How much does your interest level peak in January?
Much more. They were picked number 1 in the preseason poll. I mean, I'm not going to not pay attention.
It's when you're locked in.
Text line says Twisters is a good movie. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson's tonight. Special effects. Someone said Bad Boys for Life is on Hulu if maybe you're just looking for an action movie. For the most part, people are saying Twisters is a pretty good
I've heard
watch.
that it's good.
Someone says they've seen it 15 times. 15 times?
Wow. I don't think I've ever watched a movie I guess, this soon after a release 15 times.
All right, we'll talk. No, impossible.
That's crazy.
I don't know that I mean, I can't think of a movie I've seen 15 times other than the
Just
ones I
in
would have
general.
watched when I was young. And then, I don't have the time anymore. I'll never watch a movie. Like any movie made now until the rest of time, I'll never see 15
The
times.
only movies I've watched 15 times are maybe Disney movies because you include the 4 or 5 times you want to watch it as a little kid, and then you watch it every now and then later on. But still, 15, that's a lot of times.
Someone says you should check out Piece by Piece. It's a Pharrell Lego biopic movie. I'm interested. I mean, I could be talked into that. Pharrell's in pretty much every music soundtrack my kids watch these days. I'll tell you what, just real quick, and then I swear we can get back to the Chiefs. So my daughter is super into the Descendants movies. You're probably a little too old. People with kids on the text line understand it. Descendants and Zombies. They are doing a live tour next year, Drew, for Descendants and Zombies with actual members of the cast.
Nice.
Coming to the T-Mobile Center, right? Like, they're going to be there.
That's awesome.
The whole thing, my daughter loved. She's been a Descendants character 2 years in a row for Halloween. She listens to the music all the time. It's been a regular staple in the Tap household. I could not believe the cost for tickets. It was offensive. It's a Disney movie concert. I'm not going to see Bruce Springsteen. The hell are we doing here?
Are we? I get we're
Lower
talking
level.
We're talking
Disney movie.
We're talking triple
T-Mobile.
figures. I know we're talking triple digits, or is it 4?
It's not 4 digits. Okay. How much do you think it costs for 2? I bought 2, by the way. I
yeah,
didn't even
for
buy it
2
for the whole
tickets.
family. Just either me or my wife will take my
$600.
Quite that bad, but it was like 4. I mean, it was just like But a 4, it's a kids. It's a kids concert.
That's wild.
We can't. Someone says, "Thanks for the alley-oop, man." # Descendant Dad. Like your kid will, dude. The concert's not till next August, but the tickets are on sale now. And if your kid's really into them, they're gonna love it.
$200 a ticket, man. That's are they that big of a deal? I guess are they that big of a deal where it makes some sense?
I'll say this: the one thing that I think is a benefit to this versus if you're going to just see Disney on Ice or something, at least it's going to include some members of the actual movie cast. All right, so that makes it better, right?
Yes,
that makes it
I would agree.
Better. But I mean, God, just offended by the price. I've decided that this is the week. I'm either going down swinging or I'm joining the rest of the group. For the final week, will claim that this is the case unless something, because if they don't get it this week, I'm out. I'm done predicting it. This is the week that Patrick Mahomes finally hits Xavier Worthy deep in a game. It's happening. This is the time. It's been enough of this tiptoeing around it seemingly for weeks. Whether it be Xavier Worthy not knowing where the sideline is, or the following week, Patrick Mahomes not knowing where the sideline is, or some of just the general misses near the end zone or this or that, they are going to have a pass of greater than 30 yards completed between the two of them this week. And honest to God, if it doesn't happen this week, I'm out. I'm done predicting it.
Okay.
I'm done saying it's on the doorstep, and I will accept that this is a team with 0 deep passing game.
Did you bet the
0 deep passing game? I did. Over 25 and a half yards. Depending on the book you go to, you can get it at -110. Some places you can get it at, plus money.
I think take it in a heartbeat. I think I'm with you. I think this Sunday is the game that they finally get that connection. They've been trying, hasn't quite happened because of the two of them, respectively.
Yeah,
but I think yes, there's going to be a deep ball hit. I mean, 25 yards. You didn't even have to throw a deep ball. It could be like a little wheel route.
It's going to be anything. It's going to be a gain of 30 or more yards from the 913. Guess you'll just be joining the rest of us. Look, you're probably right. Some dreams I'm not willing to die on because the problem with giving up on they won't find a way to get the ball to Xavier Worthy deep, legitimately just thinking it's not going to happen then they just don't have a deep passing game. We are eliminating the possibility that the Chiefs could ever have a deep passing game this year. And while that's not a shocker to this point, the Chiefs are the worst deep passing game in the league. Dead serious. They're worst. Nobody's worse at getting the ball down the field than the Chiefs. And they were that last year pretty much for the majority of the year. So we have 18 consecutive months of the ball simply not traveling down the field. So it's easy to just be well, just give up, man. That thing ain't gonna happen. This is it. I've drawn my line in the sand. I am so convinced they are right on the precipice of finding a deep passing game that I'm predicting it will happen this week. But if it doesn't, I am happy, as the 913 pointed out, to join the rest of you.
I'm
I will jump on board that it's just not going to happen.
I'm convinced that it's going to happen because they keep on trying it. You know, it's not like they've just given up.
No,
you know, they've tried, and I think it's only a matter of time. Even if it's not this week, I still think that there's going to be some point in the next couple weeks, very soon, where Mahomes won't overthrow Worthy. It won't be out of bounds.
Yeah.
Worthy will stay in bounds. Whatever the case is, that ball there's going to be a deep ball connection that is made from Xavier Worthy to Patrick Mahomes. And it's not like Xavier Worthy can't get open either. You know, he's creating separation. It's just that the ball either hasn't been placed right or Worthy loses where he's at on the sideline. It's just a little thing that has to be corrected.
It's really hard because, like, fundamentally, I do not think Patrick Mahomes is a bad deep ball passer because I've seen him do it. Like, I have, in his career, seen him be successful in the deep passing game. Brock Purdy led all quarterbacks last year in deep passing rate.
Of all quarterbacks,
Brock Purdy, dead serious. Deep passing rate last year. C.J. Stroud was number 2. Tua was 3. Dak Prescott was 4. Trevor Lawrence was 5. Jordan Love was 6. So, I mean, these are quarterbacks who I do not watch and be like, man, they're just so much better at the deep passing game. Last year was easy. They had no deep threat. They had literally no speed to take the ball down the field. They now have a person, it's Xavier Worthy, but it just hasn't connected.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a physical ability thing. I think some of it is like being out of practice, right? He doesn't get to do it as much, so the passes aren't as good. He doesn't get to throw it all the time like he was with Tyreek Hill. I think some of it's certainly that. But like, I refuse to give up on it until this week.
I don't want to say
this is my end.
I don't want to say he's trying too hard sometimes either. Like I don't, if he's not necessarily confident in it or he's just lost the ability to really place it properly. But like, I think actually that might actually be what it is. What you said, he just hadn't done it enough. In an in-game situation, it hasn't happened enough where. Not that he puts pressure on himself, but he knows this is the time to do it. This is the one chance I get to throw a deep ball. They don't do it often enough because they just don't have that personnel to try it multiple times.
From the 816, any other quarterback with stats like Mahomes would have you not be calling him the best quarterback in the league. Mahomes is not and hasn't been the best quarterback in the league for 4 years, according to David in Kansas City.
4 years?
Like, I'm just going to have to disagree.
4 years ago, he threw 50 touchdowns, didn't he?
I would also point out that he has won the Super Bowl 2 consecutive years. And while he's right, this year and last year, if you just looked at a statistical quarterback, I would agree with you. This year and last year, no part of his statistics have suggested he's the best quarterback in the league. 3 years ago, he led the league in passing yardage and touchdowns. So, like... he's pretty good that year, probably. He had 41 touchdowns and 12 interceptions and 5,250 yards. 4 years ago, he had 4,839 yards and 37 touchdowns. So, like, yeah, I think it's probably fine. Like, if you say 2 years, you had me, David. You can make the argument that there's nothing about his statistical success over the last 2 years that would suggest he's the best quarterback in the NFL, except the whole he's undefeated in the playoffs and a 2-time Super Bowl champion, which happens to be a relatively big stat. And his fourth down stats, his ability on third down, because if you want to ask me, like, what about this year's season does make you think Patrick Mahomes is still a top quarterback in the league? Which I don't know why anyone would be arguing, but if we're arguing for that sake. I would tell you that he is the most efficient quarterback, and they are the most efficient offense on third down in the NFL. That is a major stat for me. Huge stat. Because that leads to successful offenses. The fact that they are able to do that. Yeah, I know if you look on paper and you see 2,208 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 9 picks, you're not blown away. But this isn't just Mahomes I would defend in this. Go look up Brock Purdy stats. I think Brock Purdy is playing top 7 quarterback, top 5 quarterback in the league right now. I think he's playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Seriously. Maybe not top 5, but top 7 to 8. His stats look a lot like Patrick Mahomes. I still think he's playing some of the best quarterback in the league. It just kind of depends. From the 816, Pat and Worthy did connect on a deep shot to the Chargers this year. Worthy definitely is getting open. And I agree, it's not like it's happened a lot, but it's just, that's a long time ago, man. What was that Chargers game? Week 3?
Yeah, 4.
Week 4?
Week 4, because I think they played, who was it? It was
I can't be having
Ravens,
a deep
Bengals,
passing.
Falcons, maybe?
I
don't
can't
know.
be having a deep pass get completed every 2.5 months. That was like Labor Day. It's got to be more recent than that.
David's negotiating with you. He said, okay, I'll accept 2 years now.
Okay. I'm glad. You know what? In fairness, once I pointed out the facts, I like this, David. There are too many people in this world who will not agree even when presented with facts. I presented you with a little bit of facts, and you're like, okay, fine. I'll give up on the 4-year thing. I want to talk about the last 2 years.
So somebody texted in, and we talked about it last year a little bit. From the 816, soon as EB left, he's turned into a shell of himself. Nagy's ruined him in the offense. It's really interesting because I think looking at the offensive rankings, they're fine. They just do things in a different way. Obviously, it makes some sense. Different coordinator, all that other stuff. In conversation, though, regarding Matt Nagy, who, according to some reports, has been, as a guy maybe to watch in regards to the coaching carousel for next season. I don't know if it was you, Cody, or if it was Alex who has said, I don't know if I want Matt Nagy as the next head coach when Andy Reid retires.
I wouldn't be in I'll tell you this much. I wouldn't be in a hurry.
Yeah, I want somebody else if I can. So I wonder if that, I know that you guys haven't gone as far as to say Eric Bieniemy leaving is what's causing Patrick Mahomes to play this way, or it's Matt Nagy's fault as much as it is. I'd be a little bit weary of Matt Nagy being the head coach because I know what this offense currently looks like, and I don't know if I like it as much. Maybe it's not because of Patrick Mahomes as much as some other external factors.
But I will reserve the right I am willing to reserve the right to make my decision on Matt Nagy until they have a full complement of weapons. 2 years ago, their number one wide receiver coming into the season was Kadarius Toney. I don't
So
care.
you're saying,
I don't care who the offensive coordinator would have been. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
So next year they bring back, they have Rasheed. So next year
they'll have Rasheed Rice.
They'll have Rasheed Rice. Say they bring back D-Hop. They got DeAndre Hopkins. They'll have Xavier Worthy. Let's say they draft another wide receiver.
Yeah, that's a full complement.
4 wide receivers and Travis Kelce. You think is still hanging around?
I'll make a decision. Okay. I'll make a decision then. I don't think the fears are unwarranted. I'm just saying I'm waiting to make a decision. Coming up in about 40 minutes, Harold Kuntz will join us for the fan club. Plus, in about 10 minutes, we'll get into why this game plays the way it does on Sunday. But Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight tonight, Drew.
Ugh, man, it's finally here, I guess, right?
I'm going to refuse to watch it.
I don't think I will either.
Dude, this fight's rigged. It's a fake fight. They already know who's going to win, in my opinion. This is a wrestling match. Jake Paul getting slapped by Mike Tyson yesterday. This is a wrestling match. And I'm not saying wrestling can't be entertaining. I watched it with friends a couple of months ago. Been the first time since it was SummerSlam, whatever it was. I watched SummerSlam with some friends. Very entertaining. They taught me all the backstories. This is a fake fight. And Jake Paul is one of the most unlikable people on the planet. So unless you're going to tell me that this is a fake fight rigged so that Mike Tyson knocks him unconscious, I'm not interested. Because rigged fights with young fighters feel like Jake Paul wins in a 9-round decision or so, 10-round decision, dude. I can't do that. I can't watch a fight for that long for this. I'm just not interested. Are you?
I'm going to be honest.
913-586-7965.
9 rounds of Mike Tyson against Jake Paul. Sorry, I'm better off watching. Look, Wisconsin basketball is on tonight for the first time on TV. I'm watching that instead of Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. I'm sorry.
Wisconsin basketball
Wisconsin
in November?
hoops, baby. Yes, they play Arizona. I'm excited. I'm not watching the 9 rounds, 10 rounds of Jake Paul and Mike Tyson does not sound fun. They're both going to be gassed after round 6. I don't. Mike Tyson is 58 years old, Cody. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it a full 10. I don't even know if they are, if it's a full-fledged quote-unquote boxing match. I don't think he's lasting 10 rounds if they're even doing that.
I honestly, here's what's funny is I kind of feel like they set this fight up to be like the generational. Like for the people that are like, I can't take these YouTube stars and all of their prime energy drinks, right?
Yeah.
Right? They set it up so that like anyone who is my age or older is like, I hope Mike Tyson like ruins this man's life, right? That's what they're
saying
setting.
First round knockout, like send him to the floor.
They're setting it up
The
because
canvas.
that's how you want. They want the generational thing, and then everybody young, right? Anybody who's a little bit younger than you or your age or younger, who grew up in the YouTube generation, who grew up with the Paul brothers and all this, like they're going to be rooting for their guy, right? They've set up. This is why it's smart. They are setting it up as a generational difference in those.
Somebody said they're 47 and I'm watching for nostalgia. I'm sorry. You're not going to, I feel like you're going to be really disappointed because Mike Tyson's not going to give you that nostalgia. If it were 10 years ago and you were 48, I don't even know if he was still a pro then or if he had already retired by then. 48, you would think he would have retired. That might have been more nostalgia.
Someone said 14-ounce gloves, 2-minute rounds. Said for those, from the 816, for those who don't know much about boxing, those are unusually heavy gloves. Say borderline sparring gloves is what they're calling them.
So they want somebody to get knocked
for
out.
heavyweight fighters. So they're saying they don't want anyone to get knocked out. And they're also saying a 2-minute round is obviously a full minute less than a traditional round. So, like,
there's
odds are it's coming
rounds.
down to
Okay.
the card, right? Like, I think this is going the full 10. I think if you buy the paper or if you pull it up on Netflix tonight and you got a bunch of people over there watching for that thing, like, you know, you're doing that. Someone says they're 19 and their generation's rooting for Mike Tyson too.
Good for you guys.
Okay.
I just don't. I have no interest in it. If it were, you know what? If it were, maybe it's the Netflix thing because I mean I have Netflix, but I'm not going to Netflix to watch a fight. If it were on national TV and they say they put it on Fox, I don't know. They put it on ABC. It was a 5-round. It was a best of 5 2-minute round fight. Maybe I'll watch it because you know what? It's not going to last any more than 15 minutes. That might be 15 minutes worth watching.
This is where, like, social media is a scourge in society, but generally speaking, and I'm active on it, so, like, I'm saying that as an active participant in the horror. I'll say this feels like one of those, like, this is a thing that I like social media about, is like, I don't need to watch the event. Someone will show me the clip on YouTube.
I'll watch the highlights.
Someone will, I'll get on Twitter and someone will pop up someone will show me the punches, dude. It's fine. Right? All right, landed a good one. I'll see it. It's fine.
Somebody said, hell, they're 56 and they can kick a little ass. All right.
Look, I hope it's a fight.
Apparently it's 8 rounds. 8 2-minute rounds, Cody. Even 8. Tyson's not lasting 8. He's 58. I don't think he's lasting 8 rounds.
8 rounds?
I don't think Tyson can last 8 rounds. He's going to be too gassed. This thing,
2-minute rounds though.
I know, but they should have had this thing go 5 rounds. 5 rounds 2 minutes. Let him just get after it, and then be done with it.
I guess we'll keep an eye out on it.
Because I think to your point, it's going to come down to the card, which of course it will.
And then they'll choose Jake Paul to win because they want him to keep boxing. They don't need Mike Tyson to keep boxing people.
I know.
For the sanctioned fight, but right? You know what I'm saying? Like he does. You know, they don't need him to continue a boxing career in order to continue to promote it.
I do think it is the fakest boxing career as well. Like,
oh yeah, I mean,
can you fight Canelo Alvarez, please? Huh? Jake Paul, please. Like, go up against somebody who's not 45 or older. Like, let's try it one time. Come on now.
No, you're not going to do that. When we come back, there's a little bit of an update on what the Chiefs are doing next in their search for a stadium renovation or a new stadium. Plus, this game plays one particular way for one very big reason.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
Hey investors, this is JD again with Crossroads Investment Lending. Still wanting to get in that fix and flip game? Don't have the money? Maybe you've always wanted to get yourself a rental property. We can help you get in the door. Call the fix and flip guys at Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900, or go to kclend.com. That's KCLEND.com. Get started in the fix and flip game. What are you waiting for? That's Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900 or kclend.com.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Kansas City is Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings off 152 and North Flintlock Road in KC Mo, Friday, November 15th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champ while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
I plan to rearrange my closet, but I stopped after picking the clothes up off the floor.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's award-winning language learning app will help you start speaking another language. Start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
Comment tu t'appelles?
Comment tu t'appelles?
Vous êtes où?
Vous êtes où?
Babbel's bite-sized lessons make it easy to learn words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks,
"How's your French going?"
you can say,
Babbel est amusant et facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue. Et cela ne prend que 15 minutes par jour.
When you want to really learn another language, it starts with Babbel. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
It takes a lot to prepare for game day as a dedicated fan, and preparing the perfect tailgate meal might be most important of all. That's why Hellmann's Real Mayonnaise is the MVP. Hellmann's Mayonnaise is the secret to bring out the rich and creamy taste to all your game day dishes, from buffalo chicken dip to your favorite sub sandwich and everything in between. So give it a try, and mayo game day be delicious with Hellmann's Real Mayonnaise. Shop at your local Walmart, Kroger, or grocery store, and add some extra deliciousness to your game day dishes this football season.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Presenting Again Fling's love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Game Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a Pick 6, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
90 minutes to go here on a Friday. Cody and Gold. Cody Tapp with you here on 96.5 The Fan. Gold's out today. He's got family obligations. Drew's back, even though he left the show early yesterday. I'll put a Sprite back there for you for the fan club. Starting at 1 o'clock, I wanted to make sure you felt okay.
So Gold's not here. Thank you for that. I will take the Sprite. He told me he didn't think he was going to cry given the speech. You know him better than I do, obviously, because you guys have been working together longer. Do you think he gets a little emotional giving his best man speech?
To
me, he doesn't come across as a very
But he also says things
guy,
like he gets goosebumps and stuff. So like,
yeah.
And like, I think I might be more dead on the inside than Gold. So like, I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
It's his twin sister.
I know.
Like, if you're not getting like at least a little emotional on that one, then
yeah,
you might be a robot. That's a person you shared a womb with.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I mean, like what level of like they are a close family. Like I mean, if you're not getting a little emotional on that one, then whew.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that feels like the one, right?
I would think so.
I give Gold credit. I'll say that he shows some emotion in his speech tonight. I'm just telling you, it depends on how they handle it. I think Alex has been getting a 1.5-year reprieve from what are the natural questions inside a family unit that are.
Oh yeah.
So what's going on in the dating life? How are the prospects? You got a single sibling? You got a single brother, single sister?
Yes, I've got a single brother. My sister is in a relationship.
Okay.
But not married.
But when you guys all get together on a family Zoom, they ask your brother how it's going, right?
Every now and then, I will send my brother, how's it going? He's like, oh, about job? No, just in general. How's life? I do think for my sake, being married, I have cousins who are also married. Nobody has kids in terms of our age.
Oh, okay.
All of our parents who are all related, obviously, us being cousins, nobody has kids yet. So I haven't been asked hey, when are you going to, are you trying to have kids?
But nobody has them, so it's not direct pressure on you.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm not getting that pressure.
I'm going to guess Alex gets a little reprieve because
I bet he gets
the
asked.
kid thing. But after the wedding, then it'll be the, depending on the family, right? It might be like the
100%.
How soon after you get married are you going to have kids? So, like, he might still continue to get a little reprieve.
I think he's definitely getting asked this weekend, how's the dating life going?
Oh, the wedding is not a good escape from that.
By a lot of people.
His twin sister's getting married. I guarantee you that's going to be every family member who's there be like, well, when are you getting married, Alex? That's what they're going to say.
100%.
When are you getting married, Alex? He's going to be tired of it by Monday. We'll have to ask him. On Monday, I'll ask him. Say, hey, man, how many times you get that question? Just come on, be honest. How many times? I don't
even know what an over-under would be for that. 6.5 over?
I take the over. I mean, I think you got to do double digits. 10.5?
Yeah.
11.5?
I still might take the over.
He said it's like the wedding's like 130 people. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, 10%? 10% of the people there ask that question, maybe? That doesn't feel out of line.
I don't think so either.
You got to think, I mean, it's 20% of his family, essentially, because you got to think half of the wedding is his family, who doesn't really know him as well. Half his family. 20%? That doesn't seem out of the question for that. We can talk more about that coming up in a minute. Well, not that. We can talk more about that coming up on Monday when Alex is here to defend himself. But let's talk about what this game is going to play like. I genuinely think this game is going to be hideous to watch. But what do you mean? This will play like your run-of-the-mill December, November AFC West game. And if you've been watching the Chiefs over the last 5 years, do you know how many hideous games you've seen between those teams? Do you know how many dumb Thursday nights the Chiefs should have lost that they won you've seen? The Christmas Day game last year. This last Broncos game. Do you know how many of those games you've seen in your life in the AFC West? That's how this game's going to play. This team effectively plays themselves as much, and not even effectively. This isn't for 5 years. This will be the 8th time they've played each other.
It almost is a division.
So I will guarantee you
schedule.
almost they see each other in the postseason. So it'll be 9 times in 5 years. Over the last 5 years, they've seen the Raiders 10, the Chargers 10. They haven't seen them an additional time. They've seen the Chargers 10, the Raiders 10, the Broncos 10. So, I mean, it is, by all accounts, this is a divisional game. And that's how you should view the gameplay of it. 2 teams who know each other too well, who know what the other likes to do, who know what it's not been a different coach, not been a different quarterback, not been different quarterback on either
There's
side.
like no changes barely. But then
These are the
those things.
same teams. Matt Milano's been on the Bills this whole time. Travis Kelce's been on the Chiefs this whole time. Sure, rosters move. It's the NFL.
They always got to prep for Chris Jones.
Yeah, they always got to prep for Chris Jones. Von Miller's in the game. That makes it feel like, there's another divisional game aspect. Like they didn't see him twice a year for his entire career. It's just a division game. Those tend to be ugly. Those tend to be decided by in the fourth quarter on the final drive or the second to last drive. And honestly, I don't expect this game to be any different. I expect this game to come down to the bitter end. The last 3 games between these 2 teams has been settled in either overtime or by a field goal. These have turned into, and I pointed that out about the Bengals, because before the Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes era had all been settled by 3 points. Every single game they had played. The Bills games weren't like that at first. They had this weird end where the Bills had either beat the Chiefs by 20 or the Chiefs had beat the Bills by 10, and you weren't really sure which way it was going to go there for a little bit. Lately, they've turned into the same thing, which is, real close. Tight matchup between 2 teams, and you can't really make a guess, right? That's what I think is what this game is going to look like. Inevitably, I think it'll have to be some person you're not expecting to help you win the game. That's how division games are won. Matt Ariza makes a big punt. Or
Justin Watson gets you a first down to clinch
Justin
the
Watson
game.
gets a 20-yard first down to clinch you the game. It's never. Last week, one of the players who surprisingly ended up making a difference in the win was Samaje Perine, right, on a big gain. Or it's a blocked kick. It's never the player you expect. It's not the player they're prepared for. They know how to slow down Travis Kelce at least a little. Does that mean he's not going to get 70 yards? No. But typically, they got their plans for that, whether they're just conceding and letting him get his yardage or fighting. They know. These 2 teams know each other intimately at this point, which is why I think this thing's going to come down to the end. From the 8-1-6, I think this is either going to be a Chiefs offense explosion or exactly what you're saying. Literally no in the middle. Just either the Chiefs finally drop 35 on a team, a Bills team whose defense I do not think is as good as it is on paper, or it's just some ugly dogfight and I might think it might be a dogfight in the 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a rock fight in the sense that the next Chargers game is probably 13-10. I just think it's a close game with 2 teams who know each other. That's it.
I think so. My pick. I know we're going to give our picks a little bit later. The pick that I gave for our social media video, I think, is going to be different than the pick that I give just based on some news that we've heard.
Kincaid or Juju?
Within Kincaid, because I guess too, if you let's say the Bills are to win, it's a Dawson Knox game. Yep. To me, it just comes across as, hey, Kincaid's out. Dawson Knox is somehow going to have 5 for 70 somehow and a touchdown because the Chiefs have struggled at times to cover tight ends. No, Kincaid certainly hurts the Bills a little bit, but yeah, the more news that we get, I think, and just looking at the teams, and after hearing Matt Verderam just a little bit ago, think about how the teams really aren't as close as maybe they seem when we go through. The Bills haven't beaten all but one team who has a record over 500 this year. I'm leaning a certain way. Yeah. I'm leaning a certain way now.
I don't know. I would fall way, 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 way short of saying the Bills are frauds. And obviously they can win this game. The Chiefs are without so many players. I don't know how many times we have to point out how many players they're missing. By next week, though, we won't be saying they're without, wide receiver 3 anymore. Because I've said wide receiver 1 and 2. Technically, they're without wide receiver 1, 2, and 3. Because Juju Smith-Schuster was wide receiver 3 until he got hurt. Now I get it. Technically, DeAndre Hopkins is their 1 now. He would have been just as good, if not better, than Hollywood Brown, but they wouldn't have had to made the trade for Hopkins if all those guys were whatever. They're down to essentially their 3rd, 4th, 5th options at wide receiver. I guess I just don't fear it that same way. So we can, chalk that one up. We'll get to the random question of the day coming up in about 8 minutes or so. But the Chiefs yesterday announced something that I don't think should be a surprise. They announced that they are going to do a viability study. They're going to ask you, the season ticket members and other Chiefs fans, whether or not you want to renovate at Arrowhead or you want to move the stadium to Missouri, you want to move it to a different part of Missouri or build one there or move to Kansas. They're going to get your feedback on what you want in a new stadium. So I'll just ask you now. We don't need a viability study. 913-586-7965. The text line is a viability study. If you had your choice of these 4 options, what would you choose? Renovated Arrowhead, new stadium on the Arrowhead site or Kauffman Stadium site, new stadium in Kansas. So, sorry, 3 options. Of those 3 choices, which would you choose? So, new stadium, Missouri, same spot. Renovated stadium, same spot. Or new stadium in Kansas, what would you want? 913-586-7965. Because my initial reaction to this was like, I was honestly a little stunned. I'm sorry. You didn't already do this study? How?
What took you so long?
This vote was in April, which meant you had a whole year before that in these conversations. When John Sherman bought the team, he said he was going to move them. So, for 4 years, you've known. Probably for longer than that. But for at least 4 years, you knew you were going to have to do something about the stadium. And you waited this long to do a viability study? What is wrong with you? I'm sorry, that's stupid. And I think it all comes down to the idea that they just thought they were going to get a yes. But, what were you doing? This is nuts. From the 913, renovate. New stadium, renovate. New stadium, renovate. I don't see a lot of, I'll say this much. I don't see a lot of new stadium where the things are. New stadium in Kansas. Someone says, don't care which state, just give me a dome. New stadium, same spot. There's a couple at least. I'm surprised. A couple of those. I'll be honest with you. It might be an equal third distribution. So how are they supposed to get a majority on this one?
I'm trying to keep track. There's a lot of people texting in. There's a ton of people
texting in. But doesn't it seem like it's about a third right now?
It seems like it is definitely more. It seems like there's more either renovate or
new stadium in Kansas.
New stadium in Kansas. I think
if you're going to stay in Missouri, just give me Arrowhead.
There are some. I think that's something that I stand on. I think even as well. Like if you like the location of where it's at, just renovate Arrowhead. But we need better renovations than what you were proposing. And then maybe build up around the K. Give us a better reason to vote yes than the parking lot being switched up a little bit in the green space. Put a retractable roof on it, make it more appealing, and then put some stuff around it if you like that spot. Or I would say, move to Kansas. I wonder how many people.
I just want a new stadium.
How many more?
My choices would be B or C.
How many more people do you think, Cody, would vote yes? Would you vote yes if it was keep the stadium where it is, but we're going to build a retractable roof and put some other options? I don't know if the retractable roof alone is the selling point, but does it make it more of a selling point than what they did?
Based on the estimates of the cost, dude, it would cost just as much to renovate and put a retractable roof on than just build a new one.
So you might as well put the new one. Exactly.
You might as well build a new one.
Exactly.
I hate to sound like the people who don't care about, I'm sure it's dope to live in Europe and, get to go to see castles and stuff. I'm sure it's cool. I wish we had, some cool old stuff like that. This is a stadium made of concrete. It's not a cool castle. I'm not married to it. It's a cool stadium. It's a historic stadium. I will always remember the times I went to Arrowhead Stadium. Bulldoze it. I'm sorry. And there is no better time to do this. The problem is that I'm convinced they didn't do as the Chiefs in particular. The Royals to an extent, but the Chiefs in particular. Seemed like they just hitched their wagon to the Royals thing, asked for the same amount of money, slapped together some bad renovation plans, did zero research or effort of any kind to find out if anybody who goes to their games would actually like any of this stuff, and then just said, we good. You can vote for it, right? We're the Chiefs. 2-time Super Bowl champions, baby. And then just hope that you would vote yes. And then found out pretty quick, it don't go down like that.
So somebody from the 816 said, renovate and please, God, do not put a roof on. I feel like if they do any option is going to have a roof. I think, right, Cody? If they build a new stadium, it's going to have a retractable roof. If they renovate Arrowhead at this rate, it's not probably going to. I think the roof is a must at this point. It's a necessary thing. In order to vote yes, I feel like.
Someone says we should put it near Lake Arrowhead.
Oh my gosh, up there.
After everyone trashed it yesterday.
It would be fitting, but at the same time, you don't want it in a place. You want to the way that Alex always phrases it. You want the palace, like that. That's what you mentioned castle. Yeah. You want the palace for Patrick Mahomes. Like this is, we're able to build this because Patrick Mahomes has done what he's done, and Andy Reid has done for this franchise, and we want them to be able to enjoy it. We don't want to wait until after they're gone to build it. We want to build it now so they can enjoy it, and you can watch Patrick Mahomes play in this new stadium that is beautiful and gorgeous and all of that stuff. It gets people to come and visit. You know, they want to go to a new stadium, and it's an enjoyable spot that's in a new place, and it's got the roof, and who knows what else you can have because it's got the retractable roof.
If they're going to build a new one, at least get the windows right? Don't build this like Jerry World.
Yeah, build it in the right direction. Facing the right way.
Maybe don't have the sun beaming into the end zone, you know?
Yeah, that might be more important than anything else that they do. Make sure that everybody can see properly.
I guess in a lot of ways, like people are mentioning the dome. In a lot of ways, because they're like, could you imagine how loud Arrowhead would be with a roof? Of course it would be. Mm-hmm. But in a lot of ways, if you just built, like, let's say you would be for the renovation if you put a roof on top of it, a retractable roof. I don't think it's Arrowhead anymore if you put a roof on it. Does that? I don't know if that's a bad take or if people don't agree with. I no longer think it's really Arrowhead if you just slap a roof on it.
People would say it's it is Arrowhead, but it's not the same. It's just not the same.
It's changed too much of a percentage. It's like someone who gets too much plastic surgery. You're not the same person you were before. You look too different from what you used to look like. You're essentially an amalgamation of a different person than I thought you used to be. Like it doesn't. It just like changes fundamentally what it is. Is it really Arrowhead? Like, am I preserving Arrowhead and what it's been and the stadium that it is? If I put a whole ass roof on it, that's changing it in a lot of ways.
And I don't know if it would hit until January. I don't know if it would hit until December or January when it's 20 degrees outside and I can take my coat off and I can be comfortable inside. That's when I think it would really hit for everybody's, it's just not the same anymore. I will ask you this because you've been on the spectrum, I know with baseball at least, having smaller capacity size.
Yes.
I don't know what the capacity size exactly is of Arrowhead, but if they do make a new stadium, would you want it to be less capacity crowd in Arrowhead in the new stadium compared to what Arrowhead currently has?
I'll say right now it will be. Currently, Arrowhead's capacity is 76,000.
You think it's going to be like 60 or 65?
I think it'll be like 65, 66. People are like, but how? Why would they make it smaller? They're just going to put it in luxury boxes. And by the way, that's whether they renovate Arrowhead or build a new stadium. Just reality.
And based on what they've said, they like that idea compared to the Vegas Stadium and the other ones that they've been to in SoFi.
Text line pointing out, it's like that Royal Stadium's not even going to happen now. It's just a data center. Like a data center. I'm so bummed, dude. That could have been a downtown stadium, and now it's it's just got some like servers in it. Ugh. Just wanted one more thing to do downtown, and we didn't even get it.
Random question.
For you, Drew, over in the text line, 913-586-7965. Or you can hit us up on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. We live stream the show. You can see Drew and I's face right now. He's wearing a green...
Yeah, I'm in some neon, a neon quarter zip.
You are brightly colored today. That's fine. But you can hit us up there at the Fan 965. Please like, subscribe, put the little alert thing on of YouTube or Twitch so you know when we're going live, which is for every show, every single day. Question I have for you today is, what do you think is the most overrated show of all time? I ask this not because I think it's the most overrated show of all time, but because I think it's overrated. There are reports today at a deadline that they're looking to create a new series around Friday Night Lights. I watched that entire show front to back. I think it's fine. I'm not saying it's a bad show. I'm not saying it's so bad that I just quit it in the middle. It's fine. I do not understand people's love affair with that show. And the fact that they're rebooting it, it's like, I thought the last one was only okay. They brought back the showrunner for that. So I want to know the show that you don't understand that everybody loves as much. First off, did you like Friday Night Lights, Drew?
Yeah, I'm kind of like you. I thought it was fine. It didn't it didn't do anything for me where I'm like, oh my gosh, that's one of the best. It's a top tier show. It was solid.
So you think it's okay? What do you think is the most overrated show? Someone says you're canceled for thinking this. It's just fine. From the 913, Friends was the first one that came up.
It's not a surprising one. That one or Seinfeld, I'm sure is going to get brought up here.
Yeah, Friends and Seinfeld are the ones right off the top.
I think Seinfeld is the greatest sitcom of all time, so obviously I'm not in that lane of things. I think if you like Friends, you don't like Seinfeld, and if you like Seinfeld, you don't care for Friends too much. I think Friends is fine, but it's not. My sister loves Friends. I think it's okay. I've watched some episodes, but it's not anything that makes me want to keep on coming back.
Breaking Bad from the 816, the most overrated show? What? So that one I don't get, man.
It's super boring.
From the 816, Walking Dead. Walking Dead's problem is that I enjoyed it for the first few seasons, and then the quality dips down, and I got it and then you're like gritty, you're kind of like bearing through it. Like it's not nearly as, I thought the first couple of seasons of that show were really, really, really good. And then the quality dips, and you can't get there. From the 816, Ted Lasso and New Girl, tried them both, didn't like either.
Ted Lasso's fine. I don't know if I'd call it overrated. I thought Ted Lasso was fine.
I think it's properly rated. Does anyone think that that's the greatest show on planet? It's when I want to watch a 30-minute comedy that makes me feel a little good.
Yeah.
To me, it fits that niche perfectly, right? Right in that wheelhouse of like, it makes me feel a little bit good, and I get to do it. From the 316, this person, careful if you tell us your friends. I fall asleep every time I try to watch this.
That's what I was laughing at. Woo.
Which is universally, people, and I've never seen it, admittedly, universally one of the most beloved TV shows of all time.
I haven't seen it either, so I
Someone
can't
says
comment.
from the 417, block that guy who said Breaking Bad. But the Walking Dead take is dead on. From the 816, Yellowstone. I have not given that show the time of day yet. So
Isn't that with what's his name? Kevin Costner, right?
Yep.
I have not watched an episode of Yellowstone either. I think The Office, that actually is a good, from the 913. The Office is in the same boat as Walking Dead. I think The Office is most overrated. I didn't like it, didn't care for it, thought it was bland. Nah, never got into it. Wasn't good.
From the 816, Game of Thrones before the final season. But again,
you got the ending it deserved?
Yeah.
Dang.
I mean, God, I don't know.
There's people who love that show, who I know.
From the 816, Arrested Development and Community are overrated? Oh, man.
Arrested Development, was that
I love that show.
Was that network
Love
TV?
that show. Yeah, it's older.
Community,
Look,
I recognize, but
when they brought back Arrested Development, I don't think it was good. But the first couple of seasons, that might have the most perfect pilot of all time. I love both of those shows. So I mean, obviously, I don't.
Somebody further down the line
Grey's
said
Anatomy being mentioned multiple times.
Somebody said Survivor. Sorry, you've been missing out. Survivor, it's reality TV. You've never seen Survivor with Jeff Probst? They're in like season 50 or whatever.
I'm familiar with it. I've just never seen it.
Oh, I think the way they've changed it. So my parents still watch it. I've fallen off over the last few years. They don't like it as much as they used to. Kind of similarly how you, I don't know if that was Walking Dead that you said, or there was another one where it was fine the first few seasons, then you kind of fell off, or it was Breaking Bad.
No,
it was Walking Dead. I think you said it was good, but then it fell off.
Yeah,
Survivor's kind of that way. I mean, when you have like they're on pace for 50 seasons. That's a long time.
The Office, by the way, is a very, very common one in here. That's it. That's my random question of the day. When we come back, it's the fan club time. Harold Kuntz from Fox 4 joins us next.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Are you playing roofer roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR & Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com?
It's a Red Friday on 96.5 The Fan and the other place, especially with these great game day specials. 8 wings and a basket of tots for $12 plus $4 domestic OP cups The other place, the next best thing to being at the game.
Hey friends, it's noisy out there with information coming at us all day, every day. It's hard to know what to trust, and the world of wealth management is no exception. That's why UMB Private Wealth Management helps you tune out the noise and tune into what matters most. They'll create a financial plan based on your unique goals, so it's your voice that comes through loud and clear. Get financial clarity. Go to umb.com/private wealth to schedule an appointment. That's umb.com/private wealth.
Hey, Kansas City, this is Jeff Briggs with Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the Victory Effect, our pledge to drive down vehicle pricing for the city we love. I have some fantastic news to share with you all as we usher in the Ram Power Days for the month of October. MSRPs have dropped, rebates have increased, and the Federal Reserve has finally lowered interest rates. So along with that, Chrysler has just announced incentivized rates across our entire product lineup. Now, through the end of the month, well-qualified buyers can get rates as low as 4.9% for 72 months on all 2025 Ram 1500s in stock. Not only can you take advantage of this great interest rate program, but as you all know, I'm going to throw unprecedented discounts on top of the incredible rates to get you an affordable monthly payment. If a Jeep or SUV is more of your liking, then come check out the new Wrangler or the new Jeep Grand Cherokee with special rates as low as 0% and once again paired with Victory's industry-leading pricing. Visit us at Kansas City's only automotive outlet mall, the Legends Auto Plaza, on the southeast corner of 435 and Parallel, just east of Nebraska Furniture Mart, or online at victorymotorskc.com, where our first price is better than their last.
Lovebirds, you're in for a treat. With your holiday proposal just around the corner, Shane Company is here to help you create your dream engagement ring. This is your moment. Let's make it magical. Through 4 generations as a family business, we've helped tons of couples find a beautiful engagement ring for a price that works with their budget. We've always sourced diamonds directly, cut out the middleman, and passed the savings on to you. At Shane Company, we have the widest selection of ring settings and center stones, in stock and ready to compare side by side. It's so easy. Choose a look that brings your vision to life. From classic styles to modern designs, we have them all. Then pick out a natural or lab-grown diamond, a sapphire in your favorite color, or a vibrant gemstone like ruby or amethyst. With our everyday competitive prices and free lifetime warranty, your forever after is safe with us. Visit shaneco.com and come see us in store. We've got your dream ring and fine jewelry gifts for everyone on your list. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal, that's all.
How about 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models? That'll get you a low monthly payment. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Google highest review rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on 2023 Google Analytics.
Hi, I'm Kim Myers, owner of Top Notch Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. This is the time of year we see more clogged drains, leaky hot water heaters, and furnaces that may not make it through the winter. That's why we have these top-notch offers for you. Check out topnotchheatingandair.com for a $79 drain clearing special, 20% off water heaters, and if you need to replace that old furnace, Top Notch will save you $2,000 on any Daikin system. We're proud of our Google ratings and invite you to read our customer reviews at topnotchheatingandair.com. Thanks, and have a top-notch day.
You hear that? That's the sound of another year counting down. Another year missing your revenue goal. Another year wondering why your marketing isn't more effective. Another year worried about next year. The clock is ticking, but you still have time. Time to contact the experts at Scale Marketing. Scale Marketing is a full-service marketing agency who is expert in lead generation and revenue growth. How expert? Our clients see an average of 20% growth in the first year alone, with sustained growth from there. It's all part of our process. From your traditional marketing to social media to paid search, we'll take a forensic approach, digging deep to find the root problems in your marketing strategy. Then we'll fix them fast. At Scale Marketing, we can't stop the clock, but we can change your company's future. Find out how you can make your marketing budget work harder and drive more revenue. Contact us at scalemarketing.com. That's scalemarketing.com.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly
Auto Parts.
This Thanksgiving at Total Wine & More, find bourbons and Cabernets that you adore.
With curbside pickup available and the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates, all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
You can listen to the play-by-play of the Chiefs and Bills game with Mitch, Danon, and Kling right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Fan Club Friday here on 96.5 The Fan. Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Gold still out. Our guy Harold Kuntz from Fox 4 joining us. How are you, Harold?
What's going on?
So look, I didn't even make us a cocktail today. Our friends over at Sazerac gave me this bottle of already perfectly crafted old fashions.
Sounds good.
So is this good with you? You want a little old fashioned?
I enjoy an old fashioned.
Drew, I did not get you a glass. He's a little sick. Do you want some old fashioned?
Sure, yes.
Okay.
I feel better today.
Will you do me a favor and go get a glass with some ice out of the office?
Okay.
And then I will pour you some.
Do we have, where do I need to
They're
get ice
on
at?
the shelf on the left side inside the door. Okay. So look, we can just say this right out loud.
I know, right? You're just explaining the local kitchen here.
Our office, so like the way, like we've got like, Alex and I technically have an office together. We never sit in it. It just collects Cody Gold garage sale stuff for the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum all year. So if you go in there right now, there's like paintings from local artists or a game-used Carlos Gonzalez broken bat.
Nice.
There's all kinds of like random stuff
the
in there.
So you guys do all the time. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So it's all just like full of stuff like that that just like slowly builds up throughout the year. And because this year will be the 5th annual we've done, we're trying to do bigger and better than ever. So we've already started collecting stuff for next year. So if you've got something for us, let us know.
I might have a few things. You never know.
People like
around.
Things from personal, personal things from Harold Kuntz.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like that piece of thing that had Super Bowl stuff on it that you thought you were going to keep around. It's just been collecting dust.
Kind of reminds me of
like a program,
Yeah, true. Kind of reminds me of when we were like back when I was working in Oklahoma. We did the state fairs and we had to like sign autographs, and I'd just be like, "Yeah, here's a picture of my autograph." And I didn't realize people actually wanted it, and they're like, "Oh, you actually really did watch." Like,
I always try to tell people every once in a while, somebody like, "Hey, will you sign this?" I'm like, "Look, I don't know how to break this to you, but I'm devaluing whatever you have me sign. So, like, please do not have me sign anything with, like, Chiefs or Royals or that kind of... Like, if it's just, like, some random thing you made, cool, that's fine. Do not let me sign anything that possesses value now, because I've only made it worth less money by signing it."
Andy Reid saying, "We welcome this kid in, and we'll give him a shot."
Oh, on Trader?
The kicker.
That's not exactly a ringing. Give him a shot implies that they might just cut him and sign somebody else next week, huh?
Yeah, well, I was just out there, and I got to watch him, and it was kind of...
How was it?
Well, Fast Fridays. So it's 1 minute and 12 seconds. But I think this time it went over 2 minutes. But it was... they were doing their, onside kick press, and that we can't record, obviously. But you could overhear them saying, new guy, hey! And then, like, somebody said, "Look at Irish," because, he went to Notre Dame his last year. I'm like, I don't know what the bull chant is for South Florida, but, like, somebody may have said that, too. And, I mean, they're basically just like, and then you had some of their PR staff were like, "Hey, have you even met him?" Like, no. Like, you just, this guy's going around like, "Where's the bathrooms? Where's the locker room?
Hey, I don't even know where I'm, like, where do I park my car?
Yeah, like, where do I park my car? Like, does this clearance work? Like, it's like... So, I mean, when Andy Reid says that, yeah, I have no idea what he's capable of. I've never even seen him. So, I mean, outside of what Dave Tobe and a couple other people told me. So, like, let's see what happens and let's roll with it. Yay. So, yeah. I mean, you don't want to say that before the biggest game, one of the biggest regular season games of the year, but you have to.
Yeah, the timing of it, admittedly not great. But as what I pointed out earlier, I think is still true, is like, he can only cost you 2 games. No offense.
Yeah.
If you even lose on a last-second field goal against the Panthers or the Raiders, that ain't the reason you lost.
Well, you remember...
No offense.
Yeah.
Don't be putting yourself in a position to have to win on a last-second kick against the Panthers.
Well, remember...
Can't cost you those games.
Remember, though, that Colts game a few years back? Amendola?
Yep.
And it got to the point where, like, he had the yips or something where, like, he couldn't even get an extra point. And it was like 4th and 2 at the 15. Yeah, we're going for it. I mean, like, are they going to be in that type of situation? You hope not, but.
I don't know. Kickers are so good anymore. Like, I just assume even this guy will come in and make like 75, 80%.
Yeah.
Like, somebody
He's got
pointed
a
out
strong
someone's
leg. I mean, the key for them really was kickoffs. They're like, get that thing past the end zone.
Yeah.
That was the biggest key. And they're like, field goals will measure how you look in, pregame warmups.
Like, I don't, someone was like, he couldn't even make his kicks in college. And like, I went and looked it up. He made 68.5% of his kicks in college. And they did not seem to like that I pointed out that Harrison Butker made 71%.
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly nails.
Yeah.
Okay, in his time at Georgia Tech.
We're talking about college. How about in the NFL where he's 3 for 3?
Yeah.
Like where the pressure's on the biggest. So, yeah, I know one was 20-something yards. The other one was 45 yards.
I do think
I know they were tailing left.
Yeah, they were, but they went in.
Were good.
I don't really care if they.
And it looked like they were strong. So, yeah.
I think a lot of it is just like, I just don't think, like, I don't think that this is as big of a loss as Hollywood, Rasheed, Pacheco, Minihue. I can point out the injuries.
It can be.
Yeah, but I don't think it is currently.
You can't underestimate special teams. It's the reason why they're 9-0 right now. Cody.
Yeah, that's fair. With the whole blocked kick thing.
Yeah.
Man, that guy must have just, like, film study that day for that guy who just got knocked on his ass. That's a tough day.
The thing is, you listen to a lot of people, like the Kelsey podcast, a couple others, like, they've explained it so.
It's an unwinnable position.
It's like one of the hardest positions. They explain it like it's the hardest position on the field. And I'm like, you're essentially like a left tackle for your field goal unit. Yes, you were an offensive lineman. You're likely not a starting offensive lineman. And I've heard some people say like it's actually you're designed to fall on your back like that.
Yeah.
And then the other people have said like, well, he just stunk. Like it's just there's so many different contrasting, which tells you how unique and how complex special teams is, even for field goal block.
It always looks so simple because you're just like everyone just kind of goes through the motions on these. But like, yeah, I think the New Heights podcast probably explained it the best to me between Jason and Travis. They said that position of the field goal unit is called tight end.
Yes.
They said his job is to stab with his arm the guy to the left, stab to the right the guy to his right, and then just allow the person standing directly in front of him to bulldoze his ass.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, that sounds terrible.
Sounds like the hardest position on the field, by far and away.
It doesn't seem like it would be fun.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I applaud Jason for coming out and saying, like, that's a hard position. Travis said the same thing. So, yeah, it's tough. I mean, football's tough, obviously, but yeah, that's tough. I mean, I just hate to be that guy. Like, you got to revisit how you're doing things. And I mean, if it got to a point where like they're seeing something on film that is so key that like, hey, I think we can exploit this. We've done it before. We've had a little bit of success. Justin Reed coming off the edge. George Karlaftis did his job. I mean, it was interesting, but it worked out.
I just, I mean, that's one of the weirdest ways to ever continue an undefeated season.
A walk-off.
A walk-off field goal block? Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Yeah. I've asked this question to myself a little bit. How good do you think the Bills are?
And I think
because they haven't beaten anyone good. So, like, how good do you think they are?
You were talking to Matt Verderame about that, and like, I mean, I looked at the schedule before I even heard what Matt was talking about because I've been kind of prepping for the trip. But yeah, I mean, I've seen them beat the Titans. I've seen them beat the Dolphins by 3.
Ooh.
I mean, like I've seen them beat a bunch of bad. I mean,
the Jets.
Off window at the Colts. I've seen them beat the Jets. Like the AFC East is outside of the Bills a
pretty gross
tragedy right now. But to get up for this game, it might as well be a divisional game. So it's going to be close. The last 4 games have been overtime, 3, 4, and 3 for margins of victory. So yeah, I mean, I would expect nothing less than another 3 to 6 point game.
I just think I know less.
This is how they played it. They know each other way too much.
I think a lot of it is I just know less about the Bills.
Yeah.
Does that like I just don't feel like I know as much.
I've watched 2 Bills games like pretty much beginning to end. And
what was that? Miami
the
20
Ravens and the Texans.
Okay.
And
they lost both those games.
The Ravens, they got
that was
beat up pretty good. And the Texans, I mean, look, they had a healthy Nico Collins for a half.
Yeah.
And it looked like Nico could have had, if he was healthy for two halves, he could have had 200 yards receiving if he wanted to.
I wonder if this is like where the Chiefs don't like. Chiefs get plenty of credit, obviously, as back-to-back Super Bowl champions and 3-time winners under Mahomes. But the one thing they don't get enough credit for is not getting blown out and not blowing people out is actually kind of a skill.
Yeah.
Treating it like we know we have Patrick Mahomes and you don't.
I mean,
so if the game is essentially 0-0 in the fourth by being 20 to 20, 70, we don't care because if it's just 15 minutes left to play, We'll win, you won't, and that's fine with us. The Bills are great at blowing out bad teams.
Yes.
Nobody better in the league over the last 5 years
Mm-hmm.
of destroying bad teams. But they also, every once in a while, just get their teeth kicked in for no reason. You're like, what the hell happened here?
Yeah.
What went
Well,
wrong?
I mean, like the Chiefs, I mean, since I've been here, I can only recall like 2 times they really got, at least that I saw in person, 2 times they got run out of the building, and that was the Bills game here.
Yeah.
A few years back, and then the game in Nashville when they played the Titans. I mean, I think they scored 3 points. Those are the only times I've ever been like, oh, they were just outclassed in every facet of the game. Yeah, every game's close. I mean, like, it's just, they're close games, but they find ways to win those close games more than they don't. And that's why they're sitting here, like, when they go to the postseason, they're like, oh, you want to give us another adverse situation?
Cool.
Been through it before. Like, we've seen it all. Like,
Yeah, last year's story was we got to go on the road for all of this. This
Yeah.
year's story is can you overcome the adversity story is can you overcome the injuries?
Yeah.
And some of those guys are getting back, though.
I mean, overcome, yeah. I mean, again, Amenahue and Pacheco are likely not playing, obviously.
I think next week, though.
Juju Smith-Schuster is. And obviously they got Harrison out now. But, yeah, I mean, they're overcoming injuries. They're coming back. I mean, who knows? Hollywood Brown could come back into the season maybe. Who knows? But it's like a situation where, yeah, they're dealing with injuries, but you got 15, you got 87, and you got the interior offensive line that stayed intact and pretty strong and durable. So with those 5, you've got something where, like, okay, if the tackle situation is what it is, Wanye, who looked pretty good in practice in the short time we watched him too, Juwan's had a few ups and downs as well. We know about the running back situation with Kareem, but, like, again, that interior offensive line, you got 87, you got 1-5. Things seem to roll as long as those 5 are still there.
Yeah. Until something in that department changes, I guess I'm not going to be overly rude. I'm going to say, I've never had this, like, pre-made cut. It's pretty good. I like this. Drew, you like this? This pre-made old-fashioned?
I haven't had it yet. I'm trying to get over the, I'm trying to convince myself to try it. Because the Sprite is nice.
I gave him a Sprite because he left early. He left 30 minutes early out of the show yesterday, Drew.
Really?
He wasn't feeling good.
Where'd you have to go?
He started to get
food
lightheaded.
poisoning you were talking about?
I think
was going on.
Grief.
At 1 o'clock, I got hit with something, and I tried to make it, and I was like, hey, you know what, Spec, can you help me out? Because I think I need to go home. I was sweating. Spec said I looked pale, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to try to
stay
go
out of that room, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, he seems fine today.
Well, so I went home.
You quarantined?
And nobody around him got sick.
Yeah.
Nobody around me has gotten sick. I don't have COVID. I slept 3 hours.
You tested?
I did. Because we have some at-home tests. My wife and I do left over.
I feel like every time I get a cold now, I test and it's always negative. I try.
Yes. No, I have them on deck. I took a nap for 3 hours, woke up, ate some chicken noodle soup, drank a lot of water, went to bed early again, woke up and felt much better.
This is going to sound bougie. I can't eat that canned chicken noodle and soup. It's
Why-
gross.
why not?
It's gross.
But it helps.
You know what I used to
If
eat?
I'm eating chicken noodle soup, I need it made from home. I need to
But
cut
you know
up
it
some
helps.
carrots and cut up some celery.
You know
maybe
what,
that's going as far as making the noodles, but like I'll do that sometimes too.
Wife and I went on a trip to New England, and I finally had like legitimate clam chowder. I used to love the chunky noodle clam chowder. I used to love that stuff. And then after I went to New England, I was like, this is rubbish. I can't eat this any longer. The poor chunky. And I'm like, I got to get real clam chowder now.
That's what it is.
You're exposed to the actual food itself.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do the canned stuff.
anymore.
The last time I had chicken noodle soup, I made the noodles from scratch and cut up all the vegetables. I can't be eating Campbell's now.
Yeah.
I've ruined it for myself. It's like salty and thin.
Yeah, your palate
and
makes the
wispy.
decision.
Yeah, it's just like it's just the saddest can of chicken noodle soup now.
Yeah.
Like if that's all you had, Drew, stick with it. But
It's almost like you don't want to prepare it fresh and everything. You're like, oh, no, I just ruined my
pizza's the only one where I'll still just eat like a sad frozen pizza sometimes.
That's fine.
If life requires it.
Yeah. If life requires that.
Sometimes frozen pizza is better than
That like a lot deeper. You made it a lot deeper than what
That makes it sound like I'm just sitting in the dark in my house, sad and lonely.
You're like sad, like one violin.
This is
playing
more
in a
just like
backdrop.
just sometimes you're in the you don't have kids.
Yeah.
They eat up. No one wants to tell you this. I don't know why. They eat up a tremendous amount of time. It turns out, Harold.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that with all the people I've met with children before.
Very
Interesting.
time consuming. You know.
Yeah.
They take up a huge amount. So like I one time described like my week to somebody. I think maybe it was even like Alex. And he was like mortified. I said, okay, like on Monday.
By the way, somebody said canned CNS is trash.
Chicken noodle soup is trash?
Yeah.
My best take to date?
Good job.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Nice.
You know, every once in a while.
Date.
Every once in a while you get a good one.
There you go.
But like on Mondays, right? Come in here like a little before 8. I work. Then I leave at 2 and I go teach my class at UMKC. We're both professors. We can get into that in a minute.
That's right, yeah.
I teach my class at UMKC. I get home at like 7 o'clock and then I like eat dinner or make myself dinner or this or that. And then it's like put the kids to bed. The whole day is washed.
Yeah.
Tuesdays, my daughter has dance. Wednesday, my son has swim lessons. Thursday, she has dance. I don't know. There aren't that many like free evenings in the tap house.
I will ask you this though, as a father of younger children, why is it that they want to do like 18 different activities?
So my kids,
you have
I
the
don't
power
get
to
it.
like limit it to like 2 or 3.
I don't know, man. Here's
like I'm not trying to say like baseball is your sport at 3. That's it. I'm saying like we can do like 2 sports and something like a debate or something and call it a day. Like, right?
I would think so. But here's what's really stood out to me.
Okay.
Is every activity is different than when we were kids in the sense that my daughter only has one activity.
Yeah.
She is only in dance. She has dance rehearsal from 5:30 until 7:30 Monday night.
Okay.
She has dance rehearsal from 6:30 until 8 on Tuesday night. She has dance rehearsal on Thursday. She has dance rehearsal on Saturday. She is in one activity, Harold. There are 4 days she goes to dance. So
practice,
like, yeah, but like they do football practice. Like they do, we got football practice 4 times a week. I'm like, that's how much NFL players practice.
Yeah.
No one needs 4 days of practice when you're 12.
Yeah, and you're
for
running
football.
4
That's
plays.
5. Yeah.
Running 4 plays.
We're just letting the quarterback run everybody over.
Like
The best athlete.
remember the Titans line? That's just like Novocaine. It's 4 plays. It'll make it work.
What I've seen more is some people are overscheduling and it's too many activities.
Yeah.
But I also just think every activity is more days than it used to be. And it's year round.
I think they're swindling.
So my daughter was in dance
Yeah.
and then she'd have winter sessions and then they'd practice inside the soccer dome and then they'd play game. And you're like, man,
but like, all right.
I thought we
but-
had off seasons or something.
Yeah, but like, dance instructors can't treat the young ladies or men 6 to 12, 13 years old and like act like they're about to be Baryshnikov, on stage at in Carnegie
There's some
Hall.
intense,
like,
but
you
yeah,
can't
there's some
do-
parents.
Yeah,
that-
like let's calm
Take it
down.
to
Like, yeah.
Take
like,
it to your
I would know. Like, I mean, I played music and like I played cello and then I went to bass. I played college orchestra for 4 years. And it's like, yes, I understand the practice and requirements and temperament. That's why music majors take 5 years to graduate, not 4. At most universities that
you
have
gotta
a good focus
practice.
on, it's a lot of practice. In orchestra, but like,
But I think when you get to that age, fine, you've made your decision.
But the orchestra practices, those are like 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. But everything else was like your section, like the basses we practiced. That was 2-3 times, and then you had to get sections. You had strings. That was 2-3 times. Like it just all adds up. It's like NFL. Like I tell people all the time, it's like, man, you think college athletics was hard? It was just very hard. And as you and I both know, you probably teach some kids who play sports.
Sure.
Like, it's very hard, but I'm like, hey, I don't underestimate the music people because like they're stuck in their books too, man.
Sean Barber's texting us said, "Don't be afraid of greatness. Your kids deserve 4 or 5 nights of practice." She's 8. She's 8, dude. It's not like there's an age in which I think you're helping make the conscious decision. And look, she doesn't complain. She loves going. Like so, it's not that. Like it's not like.
Does she want to be the next, Black Swan?
I just think she loves to dance. So
Okay.
she like
is
likes
her goal to jump up and like make sure she lands on her feet, or like she wants to do like?
I don't think she's 8. She hasn't made any of those.
Yeah.
Like some 8-year-olds do make those.
Yeah.
She just likes to do it. It's what she spends a lot of her time at home doing too, right?
Okay.
So it's just how she
she's
spends her
into it.
time. Yeah, she's into
She's
it.
passionate about
It is a thing. Like, yeah,
That's fair.
soccer didn't stick because she wasn't passionate about it.
No, but now do you as a parent sit there and watch and like, you obviously aren't like skilled in ballet, obviously,
No.
but like,
No.
you're like, okay, like when my dad watched me play in football, even in like middle school, not just varsity, but like middle school, he was like,
"This ain't it.
You're not going to the NFL,
Okay, so
you're not getting a college scholarship out of this.
I
Why
think-
are we here? But like, what do you think? Yeah,
I think parents are lying to themselves. And look, at 8, I don't think you can actually technically make
No,
those
of course not.
determinations. Athleticisms change. I think parents are lying to themselves. Like, so she played soccer for like 2 years.
Okay.
She was the worst player on the team.
Okay.
But she tried hard.
Yeah,
but she
it's
was
fair.
never into it, and it was clear that she was never into it. Had she wanted to continue doing it, we would have continued doing it. she wanted to do dance more.
Yeah.
And that was going to take up way more nights a week. So you're like, okay, just do that. Do the thing you want to do. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
I got to get my son. I think he wants to do baseball next.
Okay, but like again, like
we've been doing soccer.
But like, okay, soccer's like at that age, you're like, do you run the field? Do you know your position? Like,
so at that age, she didn't. She was
Yeah.
picking daisies and dancing on the
Okay.
field.
Well, then we
but
know.
but Messi was on her team. That girl would score 45 goals a game. She's out here practicing kicks in her backyard net. She was incredible.
So then you keep the game going with that family.
They had to. My daughter's team lost one game in 2 years. They had to like take this kid off the pitch sometimes. She would wreck other teams so bad.
They intentionally gave her bench time because she was too good.
She'd score too many goals. Dude, if you let her, she'd score 35 goals a game against those other kids. It's nuts.
I was in Canada once. I was in Montreal, and back when, 15, 20 years ago, and they had this thing. They always say it's hockey night in Canada, but like the reality is like that whole day on Saturday is like you watch the kids play. I'm watching a youth hockey game because like my friend of mine, his like younger brother was playing hockey, and he's like, yeah, just watch this kid. It wasn't his younger brother. It was like, watch this kid. And it's like, but it's like the one kid that scores all the goals, and they're like, but that's like every hockey game in Canada. It's like the one kid that scores everything, and then they're like, okay, they graduate, and then you go to that next level. It's the one kid who scores, and then you're just like, oh, this is kind of a beauty of canceling everybody out. You're like, oh, this person's actually gonna be good. Now the late bloomer here and there, but like
I think until you're
it's pretty clear, like when you're at 10, like okay,
when you're like a phenom, you were talking about like it works the same way as musical instruments. Like a friend of mine had been a friend of mine since we went to first grade together. We know each other a really long time. She lives in Nashville. Yeah, she is a professional musician.
Taylor Swift.
No. Could you imagine?
Well, that's where she moved to Nashville for that reason.
She's a professional musician. She can play any instrument or sing or do many things. Cello has always been her main instrument. That is the one she is the best at. When we were in elementary school, it's like, the hell? How do you play cello like this all the time? Like she was great then. Like you just know sometimes.
But even in music, like it's like play this required piece. That's the tryout for everything. Like when I was in Tennessee, you had midsections. And then you had state. And you had to be top 4 in the midsection to be in state because it was East, Middle, West in Tennessee. And so, I was top 4, like barely for mid-state, I should say. So, I got into state. Now, I didn't participate because I had other things going on. But, like, I would have been, like, 10th in state in cello. And my dad was like, okay, does that get land you a scholarship? It's like, in cello, absolutely not.
No.
You better switch over to bass where you got an opportunity. So like senior year, I'm switching over to bass. Turns out I actually got a limited scholarship for music in college playing bass. But even then I was like, play this required piece. And I was like, dude, I just started learning bass 3 months ago or 3 weeks. I was like, I'm not ready.
No.
I'm like Spencer Schrader. I'm like,
Raw
so
prospect.
your name's Drew. Your name's Juju. Oh, I know you, DeAndre. I've seen you before. You're cool.
Harold, this might surprise you. I have 5, 6? I don't know. I have a number of ones at state in high school during that time for singing.
Nice.
I'm not kidding. You might think I'm not kidding.
Where's
have you told Vinny this?
No.
Where's like the medals or the
I never bought them. They give you these like.
Oh, they made you buy them?
Yeah, dude, come on. It's all a racket. Let's not get carried
How
away.
do you think these trophy stores stay in business?
Dude, you had to buy them. You had to buy. Same reason I don't own like a letter jacket. They're like, Cody, what did you letter in? I don't remember you playing high school sports.
I do have a letterman.
I have an academic letter, and I also have letters in singing and those kind of things. This is a sad existence of my life, but this is a.
I get the Letterman jacket. We had the same thing, but I think that for first place, you should be.
No, that's not how it works for singing. You are judged individually. It's not like your first place out of 30 people who sang. You were judged based on 1, 2, 3, based on how you did in your performance. 1 is the highest honor you can earn. But several people get ones.
Oh, okay. I got you.
So you got to buy them.
I got you now.
Let's take a break. We'll get back with more Chiefs here with Harold Kuntz of Fox 4.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Men, we hear it all the time. A man comes in to get his erectile dysfunction treated, and very soon thereafter, he tells us that his relationship is renewed. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and you should know that ED doesn't just affect you, it also often affects your partner. They can feel undesired, unwanted, they may even feel like you don't love them anymore. At Heartland Men's Health, we've successfully treated thousands of men for ED with protocols that have success rates well over 90%, which means if you're like most men, we can get you back to the guy you used to be. You could even last up to an hour or more and find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call us today and give your partner the gift of renewed love. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in our office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
It's a Red Friday on 96.5 The Fan and the other place, especially with these amazing game day specials. 14-inch two-topping pizzas for just $12 and $4 domestic OP cups. The other place with 5 great Kansas City Metro locations.
Kansas City is Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings off 152 in North Flintlock Road in KC Mo, Friday, November 15th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champ while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Selling a home is stressful, and you want an agent you can trust. My friend Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty, will bring the most buyers. Find out what your home is worth in a matter of seconds at homesforsaleandkc.com. Click the button, how much is your home really worth? Then you can decide if you want to skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold with their instant offer program. Contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team. Google Sharp Homes team or visit them at homesforsaleandkc.com. And start packing.
Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. When it comes to airport parking, Park & Go is your MVP. Don't fumble around with uncovered parking. At Park & Go, all spots are covered, so your car is always protected from the elements. Need a quick handoff to the airport? Park & Go shuttle service is ready to take you to the terminal in no time. Covered parking, speedy shuttles, and a winning experience every time. The perfect repeat for airport parking. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated.
Are you playing roofer roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR & Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com?
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-583-5795.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
What's up, sandwich heads? Today on Steve-O's Sandwich Reviews, we've got the tips and tricks to the best sandwich order. And it all starts with this little guy right here. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Partial to pastrami, craving a Cubano. Yeah, sounds delicious, but boom! Add the crisp, refreshing taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar and cue the fireworks. Lunch, dinner, or late night, it'll be a sandwich worth celebrating. Trust me, your boy's eaten a lot of sandwiches in his day, and the one thing I can say with absolute fact... every bite is better with Pepsi.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. This holiday season, Straight Talk Wireless is letting you say yes a lot more with real unlimited data. Yes to sharing pics of the ugliest holiday sweaters. Yes to checking weather on the go for surprise sledding trips. And with a free phone at sign up, let the yes-tivities begin.
No way!
Yes way. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart or straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 1/5/25 while supplies last at participating stores. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation on select single line plans. Limit of 2 phones per customer. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Chiefs coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by award-winning Johnny's Barbecue in Olathe.
Football and barbecue fans, score big with Johnny's Barbecue tailgate packages. Whether you're hosting a home gate or a tailgate, Johnny's Barbecue has you covered. Check out our tailgate packages at johnny'sbbqkc.com. Located in Olathe and serving all of KC. Johnny's Barbecue. Taste the smoke.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Fan Club Friday here on Cody and Gold. Cody Tapp. Harold Kuntz from Fox 4 with us. Drew on the other side of the glass. Drew, you any closer to having kids, or did I really scare that out of you? Maybe like a year ago, he's like, Cody's really talking me out of kids.
A year ago, we were having similar,
I told him what it costs to send your kid to dance.
We were having similar youth sports conversations and all that stuff, and
it was monetary.
Cody was giving me all the rundown of some of the costs, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I can afford to do this at the moment. Like, even like thinking this immediately, like forget like sending them to, school and all that other stuff, like the sports and stuff.
Well, what neighborhood do you live in?
Daycare's at least $1,000.
I live up in Legends at an apartment up there in Legends.
You live
area.
in Legends. So what school district is that?
That's
Piper.
I couldn't tell you.
So Piper's a good district if you're fine.
Okay.
I mean, KCK schools, I would definitely give them a shot for sure. But I think a lot of it sometimes has to do with like if you're in a district with school. Like everybody's like, oh, I gotta send my kids to private school. I'm like, not if you live in Blue Valley. Like, I think you're all right there. Like some of those schools are better than private schools.
Public school. I can't afford private school.
No,
I don't think I'd send him anyway.
But I mean, I know you're like Winnetonka or Oak Park. Yeah, but
are you kidding? The Tapp family was definitely public school.
My parents considered sending us to private schools. My mom was a coach over at a Christian school for volleyball, and she had some connections in there. But she sent us to public school, and from then on, I was like, thank you. Like my brother, sister, and I are all like, thank you for sending us to public school, because we meet way more people from different types of backgrounds. We meet everybody that we're gonna come across with in regular life, and it's great.
Sure,
public school is awesome.
From the 913, I have 3 kids in daycare. I pay $3,200 a month.
That's insane. Insane. That makes
That's
me scared.
about right.
That makes me
per
scared.
Kid.
That makes
now
me
I'd say
scared.
don't get 3 kids in daycare at the same time. Get one of those kids in school.
That's like 2 rent months.
That makes me scared.
That's $40,000 a year.
Nothing
if
that you
I'm
said.
doing quick math there.
Nothing that you've said, Cody, that makes me that scared.
Okay, so this is why I've always
you have
been
to have
like
triplets to run into
like
that.
whenever we do have whenever my wife and I have a conversation about like, all right, hey, do we want to do this? One of the first things we both bring up is like, where's our family in Kansas City that could help us with?
I'll help you. You can drop your kid off.
Yeah, I mean,
we live close to each other.
Uncle Cody.
I'll help. I got 2 kids. I've kept them alive.
Yeah, I mean, you're nearby. I'm just like, what do you do?
Outside of that,
it's like an exchange program. Like, you're just gonna be like, here's our kid to you, and and every now and again, here's your kid to us.
Best setup.
Like, it just has to be like, you gotta have 5-6 rotations. I'm like, everybody at Fox 4 is gonna be like auntie and uncle at this point. Like, it's just gonna have to be. And they're like,
you're gonna be dropping your kids off at Rob Collins' house.
I'm sorry, you have to get along with Rob Collins' kids for like 2 days.
His kids are practically grown-ups.
Well, yeah, they are. Yeah, because his son's like basically lives in the basement.
The fact that you, Cody, said as well, I did catch it. I've got 2 kids and they're still alive. The fact that you said it that way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's encouraging, I guess, but it's also
they're both in the gifted program.
So.
Very bare minimum.
So they're either naturally intelligent or I did something right.
I feel like next time we do this, we got to bring in the wives and have like a legitimate hour segment about this. Yeah.
Yeah. Bring in your wife and my wife. That'd be fun. Yeah. They work in the same building.
That's true.
Like, not kidding. Harold's wife and my wife work in the same building.
That's right, yeah.
They don't work for the same company, but they work in the same building.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
so, they can carpool over to the
tallest
show.
building in town, so yeah, like.
There's a number of people.
Yeah, it's like 60 floors. Like, yeah.
Let's talk about how this game's going to be going. Our predictions are brought to you by Volkswagen Lee Summit. It's winter clearance time over at Volkswagen Lee Summit, where you could save up to $5,000 off of MSRP on 24 Jettas, Taos, or Tiguans, or $8,000 on Atlas or Atlas Cross Sport. What do you actually think is going to happen in the game, Harold? What's your official? Have you given your score prediction on Fox 4 yet?
I have not.
You want to be vague about it for now?
I can be vague.
I don't want you to, give up the score yet.
You're fine. Low scoring. I just think it's just going to be low scoring and tough, competitive. But here's my thing about the Chiefs that's really impressed me this year more than any other year. It's that they have an aura of invincibility around them.
I know. It's crazy.
And it's like... Sorry, I just saw a text line. Oh, my gosh. Jeez. Oh, my gosh. I'm so sorry.
That's not what I meant.
I didn't mean to laugh, but like, oh, my God.
That got dark. This is... Hey, by the way, if you want to know what it would be like to have a text line and TV...
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Another
I'm going to quit the show. Like,
if you want to know what it would be like to have a text line and TV, this is what it's like, Harold.
Man, that got dark. Oh, my God. I'm so sorry.
In a hurry.
Wow. Ooh, man.
Anyway.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Reset. Score prediction.
My gosh.
I can't even say what that one is on the on air.
Man. Low scoring. And again, my deepest condolences. Low scoring. I do feel that they just kind of make a play to win this thing. I mean, I know. I saw Josh Allen say like, "Yeah, it's week 11." I'm like, "No, it's not." I mean, I'm hearing the Chiefs say like, "Yeah, we're just treating it like any other game." It's not. There's passion in this game that is probably it rivals a postseason game. I mean, just look, CBS is promoting this game like they're bringing the extra cameras, they're bringing the extra crew. They got 2 sideline reporters. Like, this is a big game. And oh my, I'm sorry, the text line is really getting me.
I'm sorry, text line.
I'm so sorry. I really am sad.
I didn't mean anything negative in that. But, I think the game is a little more high scoring. Harold. I think that the game is 27-24.
I'm sad right now.
I don't think that Buffalo's defense is as good as it looks on paper.
Mm-hmm.
I think largely that's been opponent based.
Yeah, that's been opponent.
And so I think that they're more like a middle of the road defense.
Yeah.
And so I think the Chiefs will be able to score a little bit. Buffalo scores against everybody.
Yeah.
They got Josh Allen. I think they'll be able to take advantage of the Chiefs' defense
But
in
they've
that
seen
regard.
him so many times.
So I think 27-24. I actually think the Chiefs
Yeah.
actually get the regular season game.
They've seen him so many times, and like just like the Bills have seen Chris Jones so many times, they've seen Josh Allen so many times. I feel like, I mean, he's coming off 8 carries, 50 yards in the last game against the Colts, but the Colts are all over the place. And defensively, they know what they do. I mean, do we see Leo Chenal, hero of the Denver game? Do we see him in a role where he's kind of been like, because Willie Gay was doing this previous years, which was great because he had speed, he was effective. I think Leo Chenal fits that role perfectly. Could it be a Drew Tranquil that does that? We talked to Drew.
I definitely think a spy is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, a spy is going to happen. I mean, but like,
Chanel's fascinating.
It's going to be a chess match a little bit for the first half, but then I think where we seem to do so well, the adjustments they've made at halftime going into the second half, I mean, it's great. Like you see Denver, 2 second quarter touchdowns and then nothing in the second half. We've seen it time and time before how the defense has been able to readjust and get themselves together for the second half. So, with the exception of the last drive sometimes. But I do think the Chiefs win this game because I think they just had
They just have that kind of season.
They've had this circled for a while. They've had this circled. They knew about this game. I mean, I know Buffalo knows about this game, but there's nothing more they want to do than go in there and beat a Grim Reaper and just snatch the soul out of them. And I think they know the opportunities in front of them. They're going to do it.
I think Andy Reid has to know the things that we all know. Which is, if you win this game, you are the number 1 seed in the playoffs. And Harold, if you start talking about the things that are important to this team in this year, the number 1 seed in the playoffs is vitally important for a team that's been injured all year.
Huge.
They know if they win this game, they are the number 1 seed in the playoffs, essentially. Unless you think the Steelers are winning 15 games.
Think about this, though.
14 games.
Patrick Mahomes even said after the Baltimore game last year, he's like, I don't want to do this again. I want to win games at home. Like, I think they put a real emphasis. There's certain games they circled. Obviously, Baltimore was number 1 at the beginning. Cincinnati was number 2 at the second week. But they put a real emphasis on, like, we need to hone in on these AFC games that we're going to have a tiebreaker with potentially. And this is one of them. They've had this game circled for a long time.
Even at the risk of showing too much, doing too much, putting all your eggs in one basket. This game has the value of 2 wins in my mind.
Indeed.
It is worth more than any other game remaining on your schedule. Yeah. Not to just say you got the Bills, but because of everything it allows you to do the rest of the season.
You're talking about.
You get to Travis Kelce next week against the Panthers.
You're talking about
if you win this week.
You're talking about a 1-game difference between a 4-game difference.
Yes.
With the tiebreaker. That's how key it is.
1 game with no tiebreaker, or 3 games with the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And you'd have 3 games with the tiebreaker against every other team on your schedule except for Pittsburgh. Who again, I'm not saying they're a bad team. Russell Wilson has really impressed me this year.
A great team.
I've been blown away by.
I don't care what anybody thinks.
I think they're good. I think they're really good.
Year, and I think Pittsburgh's a darn good team.
Honest to God, he turned back the clock with Russell Wilson. I'm impressed.
He needed proper coaching.
I'm impressed.
He needed a coach that cared about him.
Yeah, that might
Mike Tomlin cares
Peyton
about Russell
hated
Wilson.
his ass.
Peyton hated him. He's got a quarterback now. But
I'll tell you this: there's no bigger, and this is probably where Russell Wilson feels good. No bigger vote of confidence than this team is winning and we're winning a lot of games, and I still benched the guy to put you in the game.
That's true. Yeah.
I could have just left Justin Fields in, and no one would have said it.
No one would have cared.
No one would have even remembered that Russell Wilson existed.
They may have the same record. Yeah.
But like nobody would have said a thing. They'd have just been like, "Look at this, 6-3 instead of 7-2."
Yeah, but the Steelers they still got to play the Ravens twice. They got the Eagles.
Their schedule's
like a legitimate franchise now.
I think they win this game. They win the number 1 seed, and they can say that they play 1 game at a time. But if you're a coaching staff, I actually think it's malpractice if you don't look at this game as being more important than other games.
Yeah,
because you know what it can do for the rest of your seeding the rest of the way.
Yeah, you have to. Like it's a serious football game.
I want Schrader to hit the game-winning kick as time expires.
That's when you know it's a team of destiny. That happens.
That would be a moment.
With the backup kicker after their starter got surgery.
When that happens, Buffalo.
Then they are going undefeated.
Have you seen Buffalo's schedule after this? It ain't great.
They got the Lions, the 49ers.
Yeah, it ain't fun. Yeah, so.
I was trying to remember.
But I'm really fascinated by this game. I really do like this game.
The Bills remain scheduled for those
I've always liked Bills Chiefs games. I know fans.
Oh, they're so much fun.
I mean, I know
You're
fans
going to
are
Buffalo,
like,
right? You're going to Buffalo,
I'm going to Buffalo. I know fans are like, oh my gosh, this is nerve-wracking, but I just enjoy the football aspect of it because it's like, like there's chess matches, there's a checkers match within the chess match, there's backgammon. I mean, like there's so many games and play, and like they know each other so well. Like postseason study is obviously different than regular season study, and they've had 3 postseason studies, and like,
I think this is a division game. I think it's a division game.
It is a division game.
This is the same as playing the Broncos or the Chargers or the Raiders.
It's just like
anything can happen. One little small thing, some unsung hero, some dude we haven't talked about in 5 full days of talking about the Bills.
Yeah.
That'll be the difference between either the Bills or the Chiefs. Some guy for the Bills I've never even heard of, or some guy for the Chiefs that you're like, the Bills fans are like, who? There'll be Cam Taylor-Britt. I don't even know who that is. That'll be the guy who gets the game-sealing interception against Buffalo. Yeah. Cam Taylor-Britt in the red zone somehow will be the difference between the Chiefs and the Bills. Yeah. It's always like that in division games. It's the people you don't expect. For those who haven't looked at the Bills' schedule, by the way, Kansas City.
There you go. I think
San Francisco.
Next,
at LA.
Yep.
At Detroit. Now, look, they finished New England, New York, New England.
Sure.
So, I mean, just layups.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a layup line.
But still, that next 3 is...
The next 4, including Kansas City. Kansas City, San Francisco, at LA, at Detroit.
Okay.
That's a murderer's row.
Think about Philadelphia last year, because they were the best team in the NFL record-wise at this point last year, because they were like 9-1. And then all of a sudden, they had like 49ers, Bills, and then they had like a couple other teams that were just like...
And they came to earth.
That's right. They totally fell apart.
They totally fell apart, yeah.
They lost in that wild card game, right, to the Bucs?
Yeah. Oh, they got blown out.
Yeah.
That was Jason Kelce was doing blowing kisses to the fans. Like, you knew he was done.
Say whatever you want about Baker Mayfield. He's a gamer.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, big game Baker. He shows up. Yeah. He's a pain in the ass when the game is the biggest.
By the way, side note about Philadelphia. You guys know how I feel about Philadelphia.
Yeah, you're a big Eagles fan.
Yep.
You grew up an Eagles fan.
There you go. They look... I don't know of a fan base.
I'm finally a believer.
No, I'm not.
What?
I don't know of a fan base that is like more unconfident in the 8-2 football team than I think I've ever.
I was
and it all revolves around the coach.
So going around the before the season, I said either the Eagles are going to win 5 games or they're going to win 13. There's no in between. I can't figure out this team. They are either legitimately one of the worst teams in the league or they're one of the best teams in the league. And now that I've gotten 10 full games of Saquon Barkley, they're one of the best. Dude, he made a massive difference in their offense this year.
You got to read that last text.
Oh, hold on.
Gosh.
I had to close it earlier. It got so dark.
It's got really dark. Like, jeez.
Dang.
Just trying to get through a...
Is this Club Friday or not? Are you not entertained?
I didn't mean any offense earlier, and the text line got really, really dark.
Gosh.
Oh, and I got to pull it back up here. I got to click through like 9 things to see if the text... Can I read it?
No, you can't read it.
No.
No.
At least Mahomes isn't going to get thrown snowballs
I
at
don't think
him.
you can read like the last 8 on the text.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I got to stay out of this.
Yeah, I know. It's a rough pat.
Text line predicted a 42-10 Chiefs win. I can read that one.
Man,
yeah, there you go.
Drew, what was your official score prediction?
So on the social video, it was 27-20 Chiefs. I think it's going to be. So I think.
Fair prediction.
I think Matt
Covering the
Verderame.
spread.
I mean, it equates for this extra point.
I think that's true. I think Matt Verderame brought up a good point in. He doesn't know how good this Bills team is. You mentioned, Cody, earlier that they only have 1 win against teams over 500. They don't have Dalton Kincaid. They don't have Keon Coleman. They're not necessarily used to having, and Amari Cooper's questionable. The Chiefs are used to who they got right now. I'll say 27-17 Chiefs.
Wow, he's going bigger.
I wouldn't be surprised if they won by double digits, just because of what you said, Cody. We think that the Bills are good.
We don't actually know as much about the Bills as we think.
But we don't know if they're really an 8-2 caliber team, like that actually would be 8-2, and you trust.
Okay, so I will. Vegas is usually not the biggest reliability.
No.
On anything, but because they try to make money, people forget like.
Oh yeah. This is about making you bet.
Like college football, you're like, oh my gosh, KU's a 2.5 point underdog at BYU, which means if it was a neutral field, it'd be favored.
And you're like, that can't be right.
That can't be right. But I'm like, Vegas is trying to make money.
They want BYU fans to bet.
They're trying to make BYU fans, and no BYU fans bet because BYU.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I'm looking at the line now. Buffalo's now a 1-point favorite. It is, but as high as 2.5. But recently, it's gone down to 1. I think
I'm no sucker.
I think people have done their research on this thing.
Yeah.
Because Rob, who's big into it, he'll explain like the fan vote's been Chiefs, but the Sharks have been Bills. But I think the Sharks are starting to come around.
The Sharps lost a lot of money on the Chiefs over the last couple of years. They're good at gambling for a reason. The Chiefs have not been in their favor. And I just straight up, I don't know how if you were like an experienced bettor, you wouldn't know the very simple stat that Patrick Mahomes is 11-1-1 against the spread when he's an underdog.
Yes. Yeah.
If you would have bet Patrick Mahomes 13 times against the spread as an underdog, you would have won 11 bets, tied 1 bet, and lost only 1.
You'd be pretty rich.
Yeah, you'd be feeling pretty good.
And I think he embraces that. He knows.
Oh, I think he likes being the underdog.
Yeah,
he gets to be it so rarely anymore that like when he is the underdog, and of course, 2 of those times he was the underdog was the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he loves it. I think the whole team loves it because I do
too.
When the personality of your quarterback permeates throughout the entire roster, you can tell. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, who just got here, is basically loving the barbecue tour that he's on.
Kudos to him, by the way.
Oh yeah,
he's been to Gates and where else so far?
Well, I actually talked to him in the locker room. He was basically saying, I gotta go to LC's, I gotta go to Slaps. So I mean, like
he's got a list.
I appreciate.
I respect it.
I
Actually.
appreciate
he did his research.
Yeah, that's what I appreciate most about him because he's
in all parts of the city.
Yeah, he's like, no, I don't want to go to like the I like to call it the Big Five. But
Gates, Arthur Bryant's, Jack Stack Joe's,
Q39. I mean, he is going to Q39.
These are like the Power 5 conference.
Yeah, like exactly. But he's like, no, I want to go to the guys in the
Slaps, Chef J's.
Yeah,
there's a million other.
Give me the KCK.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, but you're DeAndre Hopkins. They'll applaud you when you go to the line.
Harps was really high on my list for a long time.
Good. Yeah, no, there's a place near the airport that's not bad too. Hangar.
Scott's Kitchen. They do some good.
Scott's Kitchen.
Hangar. Haven't been there.
Hangar's good. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
so
good to know.
Yeah, but
haven't been there.
Yeah, it's good.
Try to check it out.
Yeah, check it out. But yeah, no, it's but I think he's the biggest. Like you can tell when you listen to him, he's like, yeah, there's a difference here. And I mean, this guy's been on Arizona, Houston, and Tennessee. And you're like, yeah, you can tell.
Oh, they run a slightly different ship.
Things are a different ship here. Yeah.
It's crazy for a future Hall of Fame player to walk in and be like, oh, so this is how professional organizations do it.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone didn't tell me.
I mean,
this whole time. This is how the pros do it?
He's been nothing but class, and obviously we were able to help. We were able to talk about Nashville because we both have connections to that city. But he's been nothing but class. But you can also tell he's looking around whoa, this is how it works. And I mean, that's a professional head coach. That's a professional quarterback. Not that he's worked with.
We're about business.
He's worked with great quarterbs. I mean, a lot of them, but he's worked with some
good ones.
But he's just this is what I thought it should be. Yeah.
Hopefully, he comes back next year. I kind of hope they get him on another 1-year deal.
Oh, Scott's Kitchen is. Hey, okay.
Oh wait.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the same place.
Same place.
Okay, have been there. Very good.
Yeah,
either way,
it's good. Yeah.
Success. Harold, thanks for coming in.
Indeed, man.
We appreciate it. Drew, thank you on the other side of the glass. Carrington Harrison and the drive coming up next. We'll talk to you guys on Monday. Ideally, after the Chiefs have started 10-0. We'll see you then.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hey, you already know that there's nothing like a custom design and crafted jewelry treasure from House of Diamonds. A one-of-a-kind creation built from scratch for a